Arise, ye workers, from your slumber. Arise, ye prisoners of want. That's right. For reason in revolt now thunder. Chains of hatred, greed, and fear. Ha ha! Away with all your superstitions. Serve our masses. Arise, arise. We'll change henceforth the old tradition and spurn the dust to win the prize. So comrades, come on and rally. Then the last fight, let us face. The International unites the whole darn human race. So comrades, come on, let's go rally. And the last fight, let us face. The International unites the whole darn human race. No more deluded by reaction. On tyrants only will make war. The soldiers too will take strike action. They'll break ranks and fight no more. And if those cannibals keep trying to sacrifice us to their pride, each at the forge must do their duty, and we'll strike while the iron is hot. So comrades, come on, let's go rally. And the last fight, let us face. The International unites the whole beautiful human race. So comrades, come on, let's go rally. Ha! And the last fight, let us face. The International unites the whole darn human race.
Welcome back, everybody, to Bread Theory. Tonight, we have a very special episode. We are hosting the 3rd annual Lefties Awards. This is an award show that is of, by, and for the people. All the nominees were nominated by the fans themselves and voted on as well in an online poll. So this is celebrating the best of leftist creators across pretty much any platform you could think of for the 2022 year. So we're taking a look back at all the best stuff from last year. Joining me tonight, as per usual, is Dan Platt of the 3 Left Show and What's Left in Albany. Gonna be my co-host for the time being. How you doing tonight, Dan?
Oh, just wonderful, Zach. Just wonderful. Wonderful for a night
I love your shovel.
of amazing lefties. We've got Marxists. We've got Lefties. We've got eco-socialists. We've got anarchists of every hyphenated persuasion here at the Lefties. Wow, so great to be here. I'm excited.
Oh, thank you so much. That's a wonderful way to introduce the show, Dan. So just to give a little bit of background here, this is what the ballot looked like for the Lefties. We had somewhere around 30 categories, and so we have things like best union, best blog, best author, visual artists. We had journalists, pretty much anything you can think of. We have it represented in the poll that we conducted. We had 68 responses this year, which is a record. So that was really great to see. As well, there's a lot more enthusiasm and a lot more nominations this year, which made it quite the monumental task to put together this awards reel that I'm about to show you all. It represents about 40 hours of my time between creating and editing it and producing the final video. So I can't wait to share everything with you all. Do you have any categories you're looking forward to tonight, Dan?
Yes, best credit union, best
Nice.
hippie food co-op, and best new robotic construction company.
Robotic construction company. Now, is that a construction company that constructs robots or a robotic
Construction
construction
with robots.
with robots? Okay,
I
awesome.
just watched the new Belinda Carr video where she covers a kind of alternative or the answer to the problems of the 3D printed house with a basically a bricklaying robot. So yes, the
A
robots
brick
are even
laying
coming.
robot.
Even the trades are not safe
Oh,
from
wow.
home automation. A bricklaying robot, the advantage is you can actually use any type of brick if it's calibrated. With all
Hmm.
of those 3D printed homes, with the 3D printer doing it
With
with a
the
tube of concrete, those are all
concrete, yeah.
proprietary concrete mixes. With
Oh, of
one's
course.
called Lavacrete, one's called, it's all quite expensive, and the
Yeah.
machines are a lot of wear and tear. You have to set it up, you have to take it down. It's not good in all weather. Some you need very special conditions actually. When 3D printed home needed to be within you had to have an inflated dome just to operate it. But anyway,
Yeah. Right.
obviously partial to the prefab method where you actually do have workers doing something in a enclosed environment. So it's still all handmade, but that you don't need all that extra labor and
For sure.
resources.
Uh-oh. Technical difficulties. This is the hazard of live streaming always. Oh man. Already getting a signal drop from Dan.
It's
So
my,
I think
my
oh, is he back?
I can oh, hmm.
I can hear you, but your image is frozen. Okay. I think we're just gonna have to soldier on with this one. So the way this is gonna work, I'm gonna bring up a little reel, and it's going to introduce the category. It's going to give a little clip of each of the nominees, and then it will, we'll pause and talk a little bit about what we just saw, and we'll get into the winner. And the winner, it's not as though this is a very moneyed operation here. So the winner gets prestige, bragging rights, and in some cases, their very own custom award acceptance graphic, courtesy of one of the members of Left Signal Boost, um, who was gracious enough to help out with that. So yeah, let's get into the first one. Oh, yeah, it was. Let's see. This
Okay.
seems like this is working better now. Better connection. All right.
Everything on my internet.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's get into it.
Yeah. Push on through if I drop again.
Absolutely. So here we go. So this is the nominees for the Best Worker Cooperative of 2022.
We are Democracy at Work, a worker-led, small, donor-funded nonprofit making media that says we can do better than capitalism, an unjust economic system that is at odds with democracy.
Rhode Island. When these workers unionized, their cafe was put up for sale, so they bought it.
Wow.
So this is a White Electric, which is a coffee shop in Providence. What happened was they went to start a union. Now, the day that they did that, they requested this guy Topin, who was the owner of the cafe. They requested he recognize it. So the next day, he put the place up for sale. Now, he offered the first opportunity to buy the cafe to the workers. So they bought it, and now it's a worker-owned co-op.
The scene is you have this very impoverished capital in the heart of old Dixie that has basically been left to rot, and then some radicals come along with an audacious program that says, hey, we could do some things to transform the society. Let me be clear. The two pieces that I think are more kind of support pillars is building the solidarity economy, and that is where Cooperation Jackson is really situated, and to come up with the resources to, let's be honest, to withstand attacks. So it's not just some idealist stuff that we're trying to get to. It's really, truth be told, in preparation, as far as I'm concerned, for struggle, serious struggle.
So now it's time to talk about socialist feminism. Feminism is the fundamental belief that women should have the same rights as men. Socialism is the belief that the world would be a better place to live for everybody if our society and economy were controlled by communities rather than by corporations. So together, they make a theory that women should not only be freed from subservience based on their sex or gender, but also their class.
I am Joel Moris Tibutinas. I work in Cooperativa Integral Catalana. Cooperativa Integral Catalana is creating tools for articulation of the society through local nodes and confederation of them all. And bringing a post-capitalist alternative in economics, in agroalimentary sovereignty, in economic sovereignty, in political sovereignty from the local level and subsidiarily to the globe. Either a nation or an articulation of societies like this in real United Nations of the world, not the United States of the nations that is the UN in New York, for example. States, not nations.
Today, the vast majority of the world's people are governed by a system called the state. It's not very popular. In 2019, only 17% of Americans said they trust the government to do what's right just about always or most of the time. It's failed to deliver on its three basic promises: to provide a degree of personal security, to provide a shared identity and sense that our voice is heard, and to provide a path to material well-being. The state is also failing to address three big crises facing humanity: rising inequality, poverty, and unemployment, mass dispossession and migration, and the increasing threat of climate change. But what is the state?
All right.
Wow,
so
what great nominees there, Jack.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's always interesting to see what people come up with. And it was nice to see that there were some international nominees this year, not just stuff from around the States. So, yeah, very cool to see. And I know we're going to be covering Cooperation Jackson in some future episodes as well.
Yeah, that's more of a organization that contains co-ops. I don't know if it makes sense to call it a co-op on its own, but I suppose that you're using the category that's very broad, not just enterprises themselves. Right. So, because I think the Catalan one is also probably a very large network of co-ops.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like a Mondragon, but yes. Exactly. But democracy at work, you have some that are more educational enterprises meant to spur more cooperative action or more formation of co-ops that are themselves worker-led and operated as, as Richard Wolff would advocate.
Absolutely. Yeah, so very, very cool to see. I had actually heard of that White Electric Coffee Co-op before. I remember that story coming up in the news. How they
it got pretty good spread. I even covered it on my show as well. So It was shared on all of the main lefty networks, you could say.
Sure.
As your clip had Rob Clone doing that article read. So it is also a matter of certain co-ops or projects get uplifted and others don't. So there's always those really small ones. The White Electric got, because I think also I had another older episode of mine has me covering a similar story of something that happened in Maine, and that was a whole factory. There's cool. Also the one uplifted by Michael Moore or others, Republic Windows, which is now called New Windows, I think. A much longer struggle of 8 years worth of union trying the factory and eventually getting the capital to buy the machinery back or to retain it so that he could have their window.
Very cool. Yeah, I haven't heard about that one. I'll have to check that out sometime. All right, let's move in and see who won this category.
Okay. Oh, well, you need some, some bombastic music.
Yeah. So White Electric, winning the category for this year. Very cool. That was a cool story. And
the underdog winning over the larger.
Right. And then, that's one of the ways that I've tried to set this up so that even the smaller guys get some recognition. So my policy is every nominee gets at least a little reel, or at least a little clip in the awards reel, so that everyone can get some recognition, whether or not they win. And again, winning, losing, it's not really the important part of this. It's about learning about the various leftist things that happen over the year.
We're all winners.
There's always,
and
we're all
if everyone's
too,
a winner,
right?
Then isn't no one a winner?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but there's always. It's always hard to keep up with every single facet of leftism, every platform and whatever. I know there's definitely not much music that I have searched out in terms of leftist music over the last year. So that was interesting to find out when people nominated stuff.
Who was singing the intro with the oh no, I'm scared.
Yeah, that was
the lounge singer version.
Tony Babino doing the International. And that was actually from a Michael Moore film. I think it was Capitalism: A Love Story.
Yeah. Okay. So I'd heard it before.
Yeah.
That was a formative movie in my college days.
Yeah, me too.
I was expecting him to say the opposite of capitalism was. This is how he ends the movie. It's like, we need the opposite of capitalism.
Uh-huh.
And I was expecting him to say socialism because I was still kind of skeptical of leftist thought, socialist politics. But then he said democracy instead. And I was like, I don't know what to think about that, but I'll have to learn more.
Well, I mean, what is socialism if not
But the point is, they're the same
economics.
thing. Socialism is democracy or democratic economics. So that is kind of what he's saying at the same time.
Right. And I'm sure that was a strategic move on his part to not scare people off at the end of the movie and be like, oh, wait a minute, socialism.
His audience,
I'm walking out.
Well, his audiences aren't really liberals anymore. He ruined that in 2004. So,
right.
Yeah. But then I guess he won him back with Fahrenheit 9/11, I guess. That was sort of, I'm just going to bash the Bush administration and win them back, I guess. But then anyway, I'll lose them again by critiquing capitalism.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for the follow, the Pragmatic Pinko.
Oh, cool.
Welcome in. We just finished the category of best worker-owned cooperative and White Electric Coffee Cooperative, which recently cooperatized, if that's the right word. This last year, they ended up being the winner.
Yeah, we need a better. We need some better lexicon, especially for, like, say, when you make something, put something under municipal control. That isn't, because like you could say like, oh, we need the socialite. Like there's in Albany we have Capitalize Albany, which is half corporation, half city agency, and their job is to basically get companies to invest in Albany as a PR arm, and just an outreach arm to get business, corporate or developer money to invest in Albany. And I'm like, well, can we also start Socialize Albany? And was that what it would be called, to have an organization that is a city agency that's devoted to getting more property and money into city hands or community hands, as it were?
I mean, I'd be happy. I'd be ecstatic with that sort of a program. But
Socialize Albany. Socialize.
Don't want to scare off the normies at the same time.
Yeah. Well, it seems that thanks to Bernie, some normies are okay with socialism. That was Bernie's
a lot more than
and
back in the day.
Just using communism is still
a scare word.
Thing that's still a scare word. So you'll have some communists saying like, I'm not going to say I'm a communist for that reason. Who was saying that? Anyway, let's move on.
Yep. All right. So the next category, let's take a look. Next up is Best Leftist Organization of 2022.
What our group does is we engage in community self-defense against fascist and white supremacist groups, and that includes disrupting their activities whenever we can. So if white supremacists and fascists are going to be organizing a march or a rally in downtown Portland, we're going to do what we can to make sure that that rally does not take place. So what we see happen.
Yeah, so
United Panthers.
United Panther movement, yeah. So some of these didn't have, soundtracks that I could grab from, so I just kind of scrolled through their page or their website or whatever.
They gotta make some videos, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Even some TikToks, Skunk Ape Liberation Union.
Yeah. This did have a soundtrack, but it was quite loud. This is an organization, actually. They do work on Facebook, but like their main stuff is in meat space.
So they should have something that isn't memes then.
Yeah.
The Second Rainbow Coalition.
The problem with that Skunk Ape was that it was hard to find videos and other stuff about what they're actually doing, because I guess they just don't broadcast it too much.
Same with Second Rainbow Coalition, which looks like United Panther Party.
Yeah, they're very much interconnected. They have a lot of overlap, and
because there was the first Rainbow Coalition, I guess that
So this is supposed to unite all the White Panthers, the Black Panthers, so on and so forth.
Any self-identified revolution.
PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation.
To organize alongside my community members.
I was looking to make a positive impact in my community.
I wanted to do relevant organizing work in my hometown against the housing crisis, prisons, and police brutality, but also against the U.S.'s imperialist wars in other countries.
The Poor People's Army.
In order for us to figure out how we're going to get rid of some of these different ills that have faced our communities for so many years after years.
We really believe that we're out of time.
We have to form our own army and be there to support and protect people all around the country.
We are a nonviolent army. The violence is happening to us.
You can have a voice as well if you join in and learn. If you don't have to know anything. We can teach you, but I'm sure your story will tell it all.
And that was a fantastic framing, and let me pick up if I could.
Go Pink.
Framing was actually not fantastic.
Yeah.
Right now, the two are nuclear war.
Oh, Benjamin. She's the real girl.
The way that both the Democrats and Republicans have been pushing us in this war in Ukraine, where we definitely condemn Russia, but we need negotiations. If we keep pouring billions and billions of dollars into this war, we're taking us to the brink of a nuclear war.
All right, so
I don't know how she gets into all these things. They got to be screening for her in particular, but what's amazing, I'm only leading in this because it was the last nominee, but it was one of those moments where in high school, and you have Jon Stewart of The Daily Show, making fun of protesters, and they would, actually, it was also Penn and Teller's bullshit that did this too. They would use Code Pink as their kind of mainstay group to say, look how ineffective protesting is, or disruption of meetings. Look how silly they look. Except by the time I'm exiting high school, I'm thinking, but they're right, and they've always been right, and they will continue to be right. And you're wrong by just saying, oh, isn't it stupid, we're in a war, but they're at least trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
And, and obviously there's more to it, and the anti-war movement is something that is tied to our movement for socialism, and the fact that we don't have movement for socialism that's large and massive and powerful is the fact that we don't have a anti-war movement that's effective. So really, we got to think of these things as one and the same. They are not. They're weak, separate because they were separated, or because you had lefties who didn't think being anti-war was important enough, or so on. But obviously they are. So otherwise, other nominees, PSL. I need to be convinced that some of these groups aren't political cults, but obviously a lot of B-roll of the actual projects, that local organizing that's mentioned. because otherwise, say, there are PSL movements in my neighborhood, in New York City,
right.
and I don't know what organizing they're really doing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, they are here, and that's good.
Yeah.
And maybe next year I'll need to nominate the Green Party.
There you go. You definitely should nominate the Green Party. Yeah. I mean, they're finally, not being shy about hitching their wagon to socialism.
Yes.
And
Hokola there of the Poor People's Army was our VP candidate in 2016, I think.
I recall. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's a great speaker as well. I've seen her a couple of times. All right.
She literally seizes the means of production with her squatting, basically.
That's
her
really
activism
cool.
is basically squatting.
That's really cool. That's
but militant squatting. Militant squatting.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Let's see who the winner was for best leftist organization. This is supposed to be kind of a catch-all because we have cooperatives, we have unions, so this is kind of everything that doesn't fit neatly into another one of the categories, which is why it's such a diverse category. And congrats to United Panther Movement. Very well done.
They won the poll.
They won the poll. So yeah, very cool. Go check them out. They have a large presence on Facebook. They do have quite a few videos, but they tend to be live streams. So as an editor, it's a little bit harder to sift through live streams to pick out the real good parts of the conversation and stuff. So
yeah. You gotta it's a lot of work to both to do live stream like we're doing,
right,
to podcast where you do record a bit and you need to do some hours of editing, and the more energy intensive, pithy short videos.
Oh yeah, those are hard, very hard.
Because you have to condense down what you really want to say and the amount of things you need to say to communicate it. Maybe you need to do some actual theatrical, stage work. That video you showed for the Catalan, I'm surprised is that really the best video? The guy's outside, but he's in front of a brick wall. So
best
if you're going to be outside
on short notice,
if you're outside and there's going to be wind sound, at least be in a park where there's something to look at behind you. But
sure,
sure,
I was trying to find better ones, but also them being a mostly Spanish-speaking organization, they have a lot of videos in Spanish that I'm not fluent enough in Spanish to. Oh yeah, I suppose they probably also speak Catalan. But anyway, I was not fluent enough in the languages they were speaking to really pick out what would be a good representation of what they do. So there was that issue as well. But yeah, congrats to United Panther Movement. I think some of them were planning on coming on, but I think maybe they didn't get the invite quite in time. But maybe they'll be on later.
Also, those curious, I'm wearing my Equestria Antifa button.
Equestria Antifa?
Yeah, it's a My Little Pony with that.
I love it. There you go.
It's my funner button.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next category. The next category should be Best Union of 2022.
Best Union. The railroads. They'll take you where you need to go.
Unless the regulations get slashed and catastrophe happens. But yeah.
And they become sleep deprived and all that.
Right. Well, I think I put the wrong title. I think it's supposed to be Railroad Workers United. My mistake.
Okay.
Since the start of the pandemic, New York nurses have been on the front line taking care of New Yorkers. And now they're asking their employers to care for them.
We were called superheroes during the pandemic, but we are not superhuman. And we are not the robots that our bosses would like us to be.
According to the New York State Nurses Association, more than 30,000 New York nurses' contracts will expire at the end of this year. And before they renew, the union has a message that's loud and clear.
It's simple. Pay the people, respect people, and they will stay.
Our members, social workers in general, are just firefighting at the moment. They're only dealing with high-level situations, and they've not had the time to deal with lower-level referrals, which obviously will lead to higher levels if they're not addressed.
That was a big one from last year.
To the first union in American history. And 2 years ago, my life changed forever.
Local 630 Principal Officer Luvi Alvaso standing right here with my brothers from Cisco, LA, letting you know that Local 630 will stand in solidarity with Local 653 from Boston and also Local 317 from Syracuse. We're going to stand in solidarity. Cisco, get your act together. All right, who are we? Caesar! Who are we? Caesar! All right, brothers, we're ready and willing to go.
From the preamble to the Constitution of the Industrial Workers of the World, the working class and the employing class have nothing in common. There can be no peace so long as hunger and want are found among millions of the working people, and the few who make up the employing class have all the good things of life. Between these two classes, a struggle must go on until the workers of the world organize as a class, take possession of the earth and the machinery of production, and abolish the wage system.
What convinced me to sign with the union? Living in America. I mean, I have no interest in siding with a corporation, like, ever in any situation. So my support for the union was 100% on my first day.
By the way, that's a great channel.
Elmwood
More
received
Perfect Union.
6
lots
new
of
hires
news about
in the middle of our union
unions.
campaign, all of which had never
Unionizing
trained in our
efforts.
store. We didn't know them before they came, and all of which were put on our voter list to vote for a union election in our
Yep,
store.
hiring the scabs. Congrats to all the nominees. So last year was a big year for union organizing. We saw the first Amazon union success after the unfortunate, disappointing result in Bessemer, Alabama. We finally saw New York be successful with organizing an Amazon warehouse union. So that's awesome. And they formed their own independent union. That's not, they decided rather than to hitch their wagon to the Teamsters or to other more traditional established unions to just make their own. So best of luck to them. And then we saw the same thing with a lot of Starbucks chains organizing unions as well. So yeah, it seems like labor is somehow back, and that's very encouraging to see. And just in the number of nominees for this category compared to last year, there's way more. I think we had 2 or 3 last year, and as you saw, we had at least a half dozen that came up for this year. So very encouraging to see. I hope that trend continues. And so let's move on into the winner and see who we got. So congrats to the Railroad Workers United. And I unfortunately missaid their name earlier on, so I do apologize for that. But let's just keep things rolling now. We're building up some momentum here, and there's a long way to go. This is almost a 2-hour reel of nominees and winners and so forth. So let's continue on and see who was up for Best Leftist Database of 2022. This was a smaller category.
Marxist
It usually is.
Internet Archive, also known as MIA or Marxists.org, is a non-profit website that hosts a multilingual library created in 1990 of the works of Marxist,
So they usually get
communist, socialist,
nominated
and anarchist
every year.
writers such as Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, Vladimir Lenin, Leon Trotsky, Rosa Luxemburg, Che Guevara, Mikhail Bakunin, and Pierre-Joseph Proudhon, as well as that of writers of related ideologies, and even unrelated ones, for instance, Sun Tzu and Adam Smith.
And then Anarchist Library also tends to get nominated year after year. It's kind of to the point where I think maybe this category could be retired for next year, just because it's basically those two. It comes down to those two every year, and it's basically who do you like, Marxists or who do you like, communists or anarchists? Which flavor of socialism do you like?
Spirit of creativity that can solve.
But then we also have the Foreign Language Press.
Any circumstance.
This was the first year that they've been nominated, so that was interesting to see.
I would say learn war by making
Foreign
war.
Languages Press,
Here,
I should say.
We learned to print books by printing them.
That's Christoph Kistler, the founder of Foreign Languages Press, a Maoist publishing house. I sat him down for an interview to pick his brain about the politics behind running such an operation.
Okay,
So congrats to all the nominees. Again, this was a smaller category, but an important one. It's important to have resources, to know where to go, find some free literature on various leftist ideas. I see you're back, Dan. I'm glad you figured out your internet issues again.
Information should be free.
Yeah, right. That's the basic philosophy of both Marxists and .org and the Anarchist Library. So, yeah, I was mentioning earlier, it seems to be mostly those two year after year that get nominated. So maybe it's time to retire the category for next year, even though it's important stuff.
Maybe it could be. Do you have a journalism category that's separate?
Yeah.
Or maybe you should. Okay.
Yeah, there's a journalism and a journalist category for the independent journalists. Okay. So, yeah. But yeah, maybe we'll roll it into that one next time. All right, let's see who won in this category of Best Leftist Database.
Database?
Yeah. The Anarchist Library, congrats.
Database in our cyberspace, and our cyberspace is a meat space.
And I guess originally the reason that I included this category was because I created my own database. That's kind of the beginning of Left Signal Boost, was to promote this user created database, which is still up. It's basically just a Google file where you can find all the different categories and links to it, but hasn't been updated in a while. All right, moving right along. Let's see what we got next. Leftist Blog of 2022. I was pleasantly surprised to see how many nominees were for this category for this year.
Black Girl in Maine Media.
Yep, was not familiar with really any of the blogs that were nominated.
What we know about the U.S. Air Force's balloon party.
Caitlin Johnstone.
You know, everyone's always talking about how the U.S. military is only ever used to kill foreigners for resource control and generate profits for the military industrial.
But she's never spoken in her own voice.
That's not entirely true.
I don't know. I've certainly never heard it, if she has.
Rainier Shea.
Yeah, a very small blog creator.
I've read them.
Heard of. Oh, yeah, cool. Mia Arson Crime Brew, who seems to be mostly focused on hacking and so forth. So, interesting stuff. Yeah, any thoughts on that before we move on to the winners?
Let's see. We had 4 nominees.
Yeah. Relatively small category.
Rainier, really dense Marxist writer, I think.
Okay.
And Caitlin Jones, very funny, always anti-imperialist,
Mm-hmm.
just tears apart. I think they're Australian. They seem to talk with an outsider's voice. I first encountered them. When was it? I think it was sort of the same time Jimmy Dore was growing, and so it was you could easily be confused with or the beginning of the Bernie movement in 2016.
Sure.
And so, but they were not tied to any particular. In fact, actually, what attracted me to their writing was the fact that they were not an entryist of any kind. They were one of the few voices that would say these, if you think you're joining the Dems, you're joining the team that is the imperialists. So that's something I liked about their writing. They were consistent and
cool.
They were smart. And I think not showing their face, maybe being more anonymous as far as not being a public figure, has probably hindered their public profile, but it's probably saved them a lot of trouble too.
Yeah, that seems to be often the case. So Epic Prawn says Maya is the one who leaked the no-fly list. Interesting. Or hacked it, not leaked it. Very cool.
Big impact.
Cool. All right. Well, let's see who won in this category. Best Leftist Blog 2022.
Oh, those weren't the blogs. Oh, no. These are the winners.
Those were the blogs.
Black Girl in
Maine.
Maine.
Congrats to Black Girl in Maine Media.
The one I haven't read. Well, maybe I'll have to check it out.
Very cool. Very nice.
The books. We got books here.
Up next is the books.
Not a dead medium yet.
No, not at all. In fact, there were quite a few. This is one of the largest categories. Let's see, how many do we have?
Well, there's always lots being published. Especially with the rise of self-publishing. Book publishing has only grown more, extravagant and diverse.
Oh yeah. So like let me just count them up before we go into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 14 nominees in this category, so let's get through.
A lot of good books that came out this year. Let's see what we got.
A lot of good books. This is a self-published book. That
Sunlight's
sounds pretty
Edge by Nathaniel Akara. This is some kind of sci-fi novel.
Yeah, deals with like intergalactic space travel and so forth.
Gritty, Shadow of the People by Brendan McGill.
Welcome in, James. You haven't missed too much. We've been going about 40 minutes.
Alza la bandera revolucionaria que del triunfo sin cesar nos lleva en pos.
Called Turning a New Leaf.
My Search for Answers, Truth and Meaning by Juane You gotta fix your font, man.
I know. It does not show up as well in the video as it did when I was editing.
Row 309, the CO said, standing at my door. Seeing that I was the one getting shook down, I stepped out of the cell and went and sat down on the metal chow hall food bench we all sat on during chow.
There are loads of people out there that kind of share our goals, share our
How
aims,
Capitalism
broadly
Ends
agree with
by
us
Steve
about
Paxton.
What constitutes a just society, but kind of think that you can do that within capitalism. And when you start saying to them, I'm trying to say, well, firstly, no, you can't, because the nature of capitalism prevents that. And secondly, actually getting past capitalism isn't that big and scary. I mean, it's big. It's obviously it's a big task, but it's not impossible, and it's not something that is kind of inevitably going to lead to the gulags.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the book it really centers on
On the
a
Line
campaign
by
that I helped
Daisy
to lead as a brand new union organizer in the early 2000s in Phoenix, Arizona, among industrial laundry workers, which are groups of workers who work in big industrial factories where they wash linens for hotels and restaurants and also hospitals.
Just sort of jump in. Do you mind just giving our listeners and our viewers just a quick synopsis of the book itself, and then I'll jump in. What's your
After
question?
the Revolution
Yeah, I mean,
by
it
Robert Evans.
it takes place, like you said, about 20 years after the end of the Civil War, and the United States is balkanized. So you've got like a lot of the Northeast is a country that's kind of a direct successor to the old U.S. California is more or less a police state under the LAPD. The Northwest is doing its own thing. And then a lot of the Southwest, due to a lack of water and a variety of other climate change induced problems, is kind of a patchwork of some city states and a lot of failing states. And Texas spent some time as sort of a libertarian rump state and is now in the process of crumbling under a civil war between religious extremists and the people who are not religious extremists. I kind of based a lot of what was, my idea of future Texas on things I'd seen in Iraq, particularly in the Kurdistan region.
Aaron, we're here today to talk about your book, American
Exception.
Thanks,
by
Will. It's great
Aaron.
to be here. Aaron, essentially the question your book seeks to address or answer is why U.S. foreign policy displays such continuity across administrations, and just how American democracy and the rule of law has declined inversely with the rise of the U.S. empire.
Well, the idea of the reasons for looking at the continuity of government were the continuity of policy, let's say, across administrations really was hammered home to me after Obama was elected with a slogan of change you can believe in. And I worked on his campaign staff, and I thought that, even if he wasn't going to bring about some radical revolutionary change, that there would be some change.
Well, to look at some of the billionaires taking part in the World Economic Forum, we're joined
Davos
by New
Man
York Times
by
correspondent
Peter
Peter Goodman, author of the new book, Davos Man, How the Billionaires Devoured the World. Talk about what inspired this book, Peter, and talk about who was in Davos and the effect that they have
Democracy
on the
Now!
world.
Covers a lot of authors
Yeah,
and
you bet.
books.
Thanks for having me.
I've found.
So what inspired the book is the reality that, as you quite correctly report, we are in the middle of a global emergency. And it's an emergency, I'm of course referring to the pandemic, that has
So
been
they're more of a book
extended,
show than Shirley.
worsened,
Standard
intensified
news.
by the reality that
You
a
might think that,
handful
yeah.
of people,
I'm a little annoyed
the
by
billionaire
that,
class, the people I refer to in the book as Davos Man, which comes from attendees of the World Economic Forum, this glittering gathering of the most powerful, wealthy people on earth. These are the people who have rigged our system so that most of the wealth flows in their direction at the direct expense of everyone else.
In his book, Unequal, A Story of America, author Michael Eric Dyson looks at racial inequality and how it has shaped America. Michael Eric Dyson is with us this morning to discuss the current state of race relations in America. So let's talk about, everyone's talking about this horrible situation in Buffalo, and it's hard to believe you have an 18-year-old with a manifesto and a weapon, and it's a horrific situation.
Yeah, it's pretty sad, but predictable. When you have that kind of mixture of easy access to weaponry, the kind of worship of the Second Amendment as if it were the Second Commandment, and the kind of white supremacist logic that continues to inform so much of what we do.
Why is he wearing a Black Sox hat?
Implications of certain governmental bodies and agencies, let's be real, certain parties.
We're joined now by the award-winning author Jonathan Katz, author of the new book
Gangsters
of Capitalism, Smedley Butler, the Marines, and the Making
This
and
one I'd
Breaking
like to
of
read.
America's Empire.
Very
Welcome back to
interesting
Democracy Now!,
historical
Jonathan.
figure.
This is a
learning how he
fascinating
did,
book.
so.
I mean, for people who don't know about, for example, this attempted coup of 1934, can you talk more about exactly how it unfolded?
It actually starts in 1933. A representative of a prominent Wall Street brokerage house named Gerald C. McGuire starts trying to recruit Smedley Butler to, it actually starts out as a kind of an internal plot to get him to speak against Franklin D. Roosevelt taking the dollar off the gold standard. He comes to Butler's hometown of Philadelphia and asks him to lead a column of 500,000 World War I veterans up Pennsylvania Avenue for the purpose of intimidating Franklin Delano Roosevelt into either resigning outright or handing off all his executive powers to a all-powerful, unelected cabinet secretary.
We're joined right now by Kelly Lytle Hernandez, professor of history, African American studies, and urban planning at UCLA, author of the new book just out today titled Bad Mexicans, Race, Empire, and Revolution in the Borderland. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Professor Lytle Hernandez. You open your book with the story of a lynching. Tell us that story.
So this book about a revolution in Mexico actually begins with a lynching in Texas in 1910. When a young man named Antonio Rodriguez was accused of murdering a white woman. And by the end of the day, a posse of white men and farmers and locals had found Antonio and dragged him by a lasso looped around his neck to a tree at the edge of town in Rock Springs, Texas, and they burned him alive. And that story of a lynching was part of a longer history of anti-Mexican violence, especially in Texas, but across the borderlands.
Oh, New York ain't New York anymore. How I miss those old towns of mine.
Here we are with Deborah Cohen. She's joining us to chat about Last Call at the Hotel Imperial, the reporters who took on a world at war. What would you tell me to describe in the elevator pitch? Hey, we're meeting these four people. We're going to be participating in their conversation, but mostly listening. How would you describe each of them so that me as a reader am ready to sit down with them and know exactly who I'm meeting tonight, who I'm going to be slinging back beer and wine with?
Okay, so you're walking in and it is dark and smoky in there, but you're going to see two men, two big, tall, handsome, blonde Illinoisans. Jimmy Sheehan from Pana, Illinois, a small coal town down south in the state, and John Gunther from Chicago. Both of them have made their start as cub reporters working for Chicago papers.
As I said, watching the weight of empire bearing down on the casket itself. But as the Queen was being laid to rest, the Imperial History Wars,
a lot of nominees here.
Politicians,
Yeah,
scholars,
right?
the
That's
media,
what I said.
hotly
We had almost
contested the
15.
meanings, the lived experiences, legacies of the British Empire, long simmering. And these have been long simmering. And have been exploding at different points, particularly as we well know, at the time of following George Floyd's murder and the backdraft of the Black Lives Movement that very much became global. And since then, it has been very much on the rise, and we have been seeing these fault lines that have been existing beginning to rupture quite fully, right, around the question of empire, around the question of British imperial benevolence. And so it's this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Yanina Ramirez, and I have the absolute pleasure of being able to bring you 3 lectures through BBC History magazine exploring this, my beautiful new book, which isn't out until the end of July. But through these 3 sessions, you will get a sneak preview. We will move from 600 AD Northern England all the way through to 1400 AD Poland, and we will cover these incredible women and the worlds they were a part of along the way. I do hope you'll join me. It's £39.
All right. Congrats to all those many nominees. Oops. 1 second. I'm finishing a message in the chat. And right now we're going to bring on Jake Hansberry of who I believe is the chairman of the White Panther Party. Is that correct, Jake?
Yeah.
Welcome on. Good to finally meet you.
Same.
How's it going?
Pretty well. So you may have missed early in the broadcast, but the United Panthers movement won the best leftist organization of 2022, and I believe you are a part of that as the chairman of the White Panthers. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm definitely a liaison for that. So
Very cool. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. What can you tell us about United Panthers?
Well, the United Panther movement is a nation of the New African Black Panther Party and the White Panther Party. Political line is to present a united capitalist imperialism, racism, and oppression in the context of a worldwide, and to turn the raison schools of liberation and the communities into basic political and economic power.
Very cool. Very cool. Where do you do most of your organizing out of?
Well, the White Panther operating out of Indiana and Chicago. The new operating out of Newark, New Jersey.
Very cool.
We have isolated chapter country.
Jake, is there any?
Uh-oh, losing Dan again. Boy, had a lot of trouble with his connection tonight. Hopefully he will return momentarily to finish his question. Yeah, so is there anything else you want to say about the movement? Or are you back, Dan? I can hear you. Just barely. Oh man. All right. I'm gonna.
You guys were topic. What was that?
Sorry about that. Is there anything else you want to tell us about United Panther or the White Panthers or anything in particular?
Yeah, well, the White Panthers are we're building a United Panther movement in Northwest Indiana around a garden called the High Garden, dedicated to the Young Patriot organizer, and it's essentially a lot. It's about a quarter acre. It was taken as by means of direct action. Didn't ask anybody. So I wanted to bring attention to that initiative, and then there's another initiative as well. Jersey, they have the Hassan Shakur Community Center, and on Thursday they have a food distribution survival program. So
that's awesome. So kind of following in the tradition of Fred Hampton and building up the community by direct support.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's so great to hear. Oh, Dan, I think you've frozen again, unfortunately. We'll try one more time with Dan here, see if he can ask his question. Are you there?
Okay. If I drop again, I may just drop entirely.
Okay.
Because it's been an hour. But my question was, is there any commonality in?
Oh no, and he freezes again. Oh well, we tried with that. Technical difficulties, folks.
Maybe he could type it.
Yeah, if you want, Dan, if you want to type your question in the chat there, Jake can read it.
I don't know if the stream can handle 3 people. It seems.
I've had many more than 3 people. I've had like 6 people or more on the stream before, and it's had no problems. So I don't know what the issue is tonight. All right, but here goes Dan typing out his question in the private chat.
Are there any common factors in those attracted to your org? Well, most of the people who inquire tend to be people, witness firsthand some kind of injustice in their community, and that's just broadly speaking. Justness goes, the tendency that we tend to get are Maoist, Marxist-Leninist. There's also a big anarchist tendency that a lot of people tend to have. When they start to transition into, following our line, which is line, they find that transition to be, more just because of the emphasis on building and the community, the local conditions. Your question?
Very cool.
Cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Jake. You're more than welcome to stay if you want to see any more of the award show and comment on it. Otherwise, thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Keep up the work. Good work, Jake.
Absolutely.
We love you.
All right. Well, let's see who the winner of the books, the best leftist book of 2022.
Books are a great way of communicating a lot of information in a coherent story within a singular media package.
And there you go. My Search for Answers, Truth and Meaning by Kwame Che Shakur. So congrats to you on that, Mr. Shakur, who I believe is also a member or involved in the New Panther movement. So very cool. All right, moving on to nominees for best leftist movie / TV series. Now, if you have trouble with sped up videos, this might be a section you want to skip, because we're going to be doing a lot of clips from Hollywood movies, and in the interest of not getting demonetized once I finally put this out as a video, I've sped up the clips. So it's
this isn't all
1.25
content.
speed.
So this isn't all content from Means TV.
It's not all from Means TV, but it certainly could have been. The nominees are open to anyone and everyone who fits the you just got to be a leftist and have done work in the medium in the last year. That's the only criteria. So
Can't wait. I'm curious to see what was nominated.
Yeah. So here we go.
I've been turning away from a truth I wanted not to face.
So Andor, the
There is a wound
most,
that
I think
won't
it's the
heal
most
at the
recent
center of the
Star
depths.
Wars
The
series.
Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. It is never more alive than when we sleep.
Did you know that the very first assembly of photographs to create a motion picture was a 2-second clip of a black man on a horse? And that man is my great-great-grandfather.
Great.
There's another great-grandfather.
This is a pretty good movie.
But that's
I just
why
saw
back
it
at the Haywood
recently
Ranch, as the
myself.
only black-owned horse trainers in Hollywood, we like to say since the moment pictures could move, yeah, skin in the game.
Nope.
You think we're wicked?
This was a surprise nominee for me. I guess I've never seen any of these episodes, so I don't think of it as particularly leftist, but a lot of people did think so.
You're the guy, right? What guy's that?
He's a lawyer of the people. He helps people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he charges a sliding scale, and that's leftist enough.
maybe he's formed a lawyer cooperative.
Sliding scale pricing is a key component of a solidarity economy.
Now that he's loaded, I think he regrets marrying such a dud.
What is going on with you?
There's a reason they invited us here. It's like you sold your company, you got rich, and now he's your best friend. Are these the kind of people we're gonna be hanging out with now?
Did you vote, babe? Be honest.
I did, didn't I?
Doesn't matter. Flirting is one of the pleasures of life. You're 80 years old, but the women I desire remain young. You can relate to that.
I just wanted to inform you that my good friends here, they're going to be visiting me this week, coming and going.
They come and go.
See you later. Bye. We'll endeavor to make your evening as pleasant.
Certainly
as
seems to
possible.
be class conscious, maybe.
Yeah.
Though,
Yeah, the last one, The White Lotus, was about
Welcome to
how
Hawthorne.
terrible rich people are, and that's kind of the theme of this one.
The menu is about how terrible,
We gel.
terrible,
He's not just a chef,
wealthy.
he's a storyteller. The game is trying to guess what the overarching theme of the entire meal is going to be. You won't know till the end.
Who are you?
I am Margot. Why do you care?
I have to know if
okay.
you're with us or with them.
This menu,
The pictures, they're of us.
this guest list. How did they get these?
It's not good.
This entire evening
Jesus Christ. This is just theater. It's stagecraft.
We're leaving now. Has been painstakingly planned. This is real, isn't it?
What the hell is going on?
We now offer you a 45-second head start. Okay, 45 seconds starts now.
Hello! Oh my god!
Crew, we've arrived. Disruptors have assembled.
Welcome, gang. We got a great weekend.
This was a fun movie, too.
Benoit
I
Block,
enjoyed
the
this a lot.
detective?
Mr. Prompt, I cannot overstate my gratitude to be here. When's the murder mystery start?
I've invited you all to my island
Hi!
because tonight a murder will be committed. My murder.
Once you're dead, will we still be able to talk to you?
Yeah, I'm not playing dead the whole weekend, dude.
This is truly delightful.
Across the island, I've hidden clues. You will have to closely observe each other. If anyone can name the killer, that person wins our game. Any questions?
Halle Berry, that has a kick.
Oh my god, what happened?
Welcome, Wade.
Holy
Ladies and gentlemen, there's been a murder, and the killer is in plain sight. For at least one person, this is not a game.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Over there! What is that? Papa! It speaks!
He's just a puppet.
Oh, you have.
No, I'm not.
Sorry.
I'm a real boy.
Sorry, Wade.
People are sometimes afraid of things they don't know.
I don't understand.
Did not get great reviews.
We cannot let
Pretty
you
well
bring
panned
your
for
war
all of
here.
its ambitions.
That's all they see.
I see.
The way of water.
Oh, you just didn't have chat. Okay. Well,
Before
I'm
you-
glad you found your voice, Wade.
And after your death.
This is our home!
All right, congrats to all the nominees. So yeah, some surprises in there, the Better Call Saul, but you know, people seem to really resonate with that as a choice. A lot of people voted for it, so there must be something to it. That's all I gotta say. The Menu, just saw last night, finally, and it was very good. I was a bit disappointed with the way that it concluded, because it had all the elements there. It showed just how dull, boring, and unoriginal most rich tastemakers and celebrities are, and how all the work that is being done to create world-class art is done by the working class, who are never appreciated for what they do. The rich just use it as, you know, it's like with paintings. Paintings become signature trading and collecting. It's not even about the artist that did it. You know, as long as your Van Gogh has the original signature on it, it's now worth millions more, or, you know, that sort of thing. But then the way that it ended did not come to the conclusion that I was expecting from all of that, and that being capitalism being responsible for all of that misery and death of art and crushing of people's passions. It had a different conclusion. So, but all in all, very well made movie. I love Ralph Fiennes. Great actor, great lead. And you know, it was a fun movie nonetheless. That is how you saw the ending, to come to that conclusion. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to spoil it too much for people, but if they were going to do the capitalism causes everything ending, I think it wouldn't have quite turned out that way. There would have, yeah. I just don't want to say too much and spoil it for people, because it is a good movie and it did come out fairly recently. So yeah. Anyway, let's see who won for this year's Best Leftist Movie and/or Series of 2022. So we had a tie this year, and both Andor and Better Call Saul, surprisingly enough, won. And, you know, because this is a more egalitarian award show than most, it doesn't matter to me that both won. It's perfectly fine to have a tie, and they can share their accolades. I'm sure I'll be getting a call from the producers of both properties any day now, thanking me for the gracious award. But anyway, definitely both worth checking out. I'll probably check out Better Call Saul just because it's never something I thought of as having any sort of a leftist bent, but hey, maybe there's more to it. And certainly enough people that voted for it agreed. So there's that. And Andor, a lot of people have found, it's pretty anti-imperialist from the sound of it. I have not actually looked at that one either, but I certainly should do that as well. Let's keep it moving though. No, like if it's got the same number of votes for each, then just put both up there. Like that's fine with me. Again, this is not about one necessarily even being better than all the rest. It's just it's recognition more than anything. It's a lot of people. The most people recognize those two as being worthy of other people taking a look at, and that's about it. So it's not like we make up statuettes or send out award prizes or anything. And no matter how big this award show ever got, that would never be the case. We would never do anything like that because that's not really the point. Point is to explore a bunch of leftist creations from the last year. Skunk Ape, yeah, that Skunk Ape Liberation was a very interesting organization, and it was very hard to get a handle on what exactly they are doing, but it sounds like most of it is not documented through videos and stuff, and they just use social media to have fun, create memes, and maybe draw on more people that way. But you want a swag bag? All right, maybe next year if we get some donos in, we can get some swag bags together. Yeah, share seeds, help people grow. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's the main thing, especially with the smaller creators, which is why no matter how big or small you are, and just to reiterate, no matter big or how small of a creator you are, if you are nominated, you'll get a little clip on the award show night. So keep that in mind as you're exploring leftist creators in 2023. Doesn't matter if it's a small person that only you know. It doesn't matter if it's you. You can nominate yourself too. There's no rule against that. It's all about getting more eyeballs on more stuff. It's like the pinnacle of the eyeball zone. Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. Thank you, Stoop Kid, who happens to be my brother. Thanks a lot for that. You don't necessarily need to have seen Breaking Bad. Well, I've seen a couple seasons of Breaking Bad, enough that I probably understand the world well enough to get into it. And I love Bob Odenkirk in anything. Like he's an amazing actor, comedian, whatever he does. It's not cheating though, because again, since this is voted on by anyone who has access to the ballot, at most unless you're really unscrupulous and stuff the ballot box. Oh, a Twitch ad. Okay, we're gonna take a break then as the Twitch ad rolls. Anyway, if you nominate yourself and you vote for yourself, well, that's one vote, and hopefully more than one person is going to vote in each category. I mean, that always has been the case. So it's not as though you're giving yourself that unfair of an advantage unless you're unscrupulous and, like I say, stuff the ballot box. But so far, I haven't caught anyone doing that. I haven't. You're able to see with these Google Forms whether or not the same ballot has been filled out time and time again. So I have not noticed any sort of patterns of voter fraud. So you can rest assured that the ballots are secure. And again, no matter if you won or not, you're going to get your little clip. So it doesn't really do much to stuff the ballot box other than you can just have bragging rights, I guess, to say that you won for that year. So yeah. Flo thinks she's more important than the award show she slid into. Like Connie. Oh, and it was a progressive ad. Ugh. Gross. Sorry for that. Yeah, winning is being showcased. That's a good way of putting it, Wade. All right, let's continue on, though. Hopefully those ads are done for everybody. And we can continue on. If you would like, however, to never see ads again, you always can subscribe to my channel on Twitch. It costs you like $5 a month. You can have it recurring. You can have it be a one-time dono. It's all up to you. But the benefit of it is whenever you watch my stream, which I stream, for those unfamiliar, usually every Sunday and Monday. Probably get back into the Wednesday streams eventually once other parts of my life start settling down, I guess. Got other stuff going on that I've been organizing for. That's taken up more time. And of course, this Lefty show has taken its toll on me as well. But anyway, if you don't want to see the ads anymore, best way to do that is to subscribe to my channel. And I believe Twitch even has a new option where you can just do an overall subscription, like you're subscribing to Twitch as a service, and then you don't see any ads through any of the channels. I believe that is now available, though I have not explored that myself. Also, if you happen to have Amazon Prime, you can link your Amazon Prime account to Twitch, and you get a free donation, or a free subscription to one channel every month. It's kind of cool way to spread around some of those Bezos bucks. Take them away from him and give it to someone you actually care about. So there's that too, to keep in mind. Anyway, let's continue on in the awards show. So congrats to Andor and Better Call Saul. Definitely some stuff worth checking out. Moving on now to Best Leftist Visual Artist of 2022. And I'll say, before we get into that, in past years, I've split this into like painter and photographer and all the sculptor, various visual arts media that one could think of. But because there were already about 30 categories and I'm the one who has to put everything together, and like I said, it took me about 40 hours to put everything together that I had, I just decided to just combine all the visual arts into one category. So there you have it. But as I keep saying, you'll see all of the stuff, everyone who gets nominated, no matter what medium they're in. So the first one up is Easy Goodnight. Are you still in the chat here, Easy? Because, well, I don't want to spoil it. But Easy Goodnight, another Twitch streamer to go check out. Ah, excellent. Mulberry Jan, who did our wonderful background for this year's and last year's Lefties. Every time you see that background that says the third annual Lefties, that was done by Mulberry Jan. Does very cool stickers. J. Andrew World, who does a lot of stuff, a lot of the thumbnails for Ben Burgess, has worked to do some of the artwork and promotions for Darude by Brenton Langle, the graphic novel about the anarchist Darude. A lot of cool work done by him. This is one I hadn't heard of yet. Robin Brownfield Mosaics. And yeah, see, a different medium altogether, but very cool. Very cool stuff that she does. And this is a friend of mine, Joey Draws Pictures. If you'd like to purchase any of these pictures on a t-shirt, they are available at Joey Draws Pictures and puts them on t-shirts. I'll have to find that link and put it in the chat later on. But amazing artist, does tattoo work as well. Carlito Rovira, another artist I was unfamiliar with, but does lots of portraits of various revolutionary figures. So that's very cool to see. So congrats again to all the nominees. Lots of good work this year. So congrats to Easy Goodnight. Well done, my friend. If you would like to come on and accept in person, I can put that link back in the chat. I'm gonna put it back in our mutual chat once again, just in case you'd like to come on and say a few words. going to send you actually a direct message. So there's the link. I'll just send it to you in Facebook if you would like to come on and accept your award. Accept your award. You are more than welcome to do so. Let's give you a couple seconds. All right, and here is Easy Goodnight. First time on the stream, here to accept the award. Appears to already have a connection issue. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my connection that is just not performing well tonight. I couldn't tell you. So this blank square is going to eventually be Easy Goodnight. If it ever works. Oh, you gotta love the live show. Yeah, congrats to Easy Goodnight. Really cool pictures. I really enjoy your style. It kind of reminds me, I don't even know what it's called, but there was this style in the 90s that was a lot of that sort of thing. Same sort of proportions. Yeah, sorry, man. I'm going to try and kick you out, and you can try that link again, see if it works. Meantime, I'm getting really hot in this blazer here, so I'm going to take it off. Well, Easy tries to remedy the situation. It's not even showing a connection level for you, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on. All right. Well, if you get that remedied at some point, you're more than welcome to come back on and give a little acceptance speech, talk about your art, and so forth. But I think in the meantime, we're just going to have to move on in the night, unfortunately. But still, really, great job. I really enjoyed going through your Instagram and looking at all the stuff you've done. Very cool art style, I must say. Oh, there we go. Now it's working. Can you hear me? I can hear you.
I can. I'm also, actually, let me flip this. I'll mute Twitch and I will listen to you through the application. But,
Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
I'm very happy to be here and be nominated, let alone win.
All right.
And thank you for doing this. This is
You're
very
welcome.
fun, very exciting.
Awesome.
But,
Yeah, like I say, I really enjoyed looking at your Instagram, seeing your unique style.
Thank you. I try and make the most me thing, the most precious little thing that I can. And you know, I want to. It's really about creating joy.
That's
you know,
awesome.
To try and make something that makes people happy. So, you know,
Well, that really
simply
comes through in the
fun
artwork.
and all of that sort of thing.
Very cool. That very much comes through in your artwork. That sense of
Thank
joy.
you.
How did you develop that style? How did you come to it? Were you inspired by others, or did you kind of just?
It's been a long road. I mean, you know, I come from like live out in the woods, you know, like literally
Oh yeah.
of nowhere. So we didn't have any kind of art or art education. So I learned from things like comics and games and things. So I share a lot of kinship with those kind of folks, but I did get an art education. I have a bachelor's in that. But
Very cool.
also just a passion for art all around the world. Lots of focus on cartooning, a lot of manga, like got way into manga even in like the 90s and things, and have a lot of influences in European comics, French comic artists, a lot of really fantastic stuff like that. And
very cool.
I'm eclectic as a result. It's a thing that people can usually recognize, and you know, doesn't really look like a lot of other people.
No, it definitely does not. It's a unique style, for sure. I'm just gonna put up a link to your stuff on Instagram in case anyone wants to go check it out for themselves. Um, be warned, some of it is not quite safe for work. Like you do good with some tasteful strategic coverings and stuff, but
It's
yeah, just
largely
before one.
PG-13, but
Yeah,
I would
PG-13. That's a good way to put it. But there's
even the last two posts that I put up on Instagram have some toplessness on them, but usually the first slide I censor.
Sure.
So you have to swipe for nudity. It keeps people engaged.
Is there any place that people can buy your art in any
I
form?
have a store on Store Envy, so it's just Easy Goodnight. I think it's easygoodnight.storeenvy.com. But basically anything on any of my services. I've been offering people canvas prints and things like that. And most of the things I do sell that. So you would just contact me directly. It's a lot of direct sales and things like that. It's usually
Very cool.
how I hook up with people.
All right, I'll post a link to that the merch store as well in the chat for everybody. So there you go. And also, you are a streamer beyond just being an artist. Do you want to tell the folks a little bit about what you do?
I occasionally do some art streams. I find it a little stressful at times, so
Sure.
I have used a lot of my passion for technology to get a little too obsessed, mostly with retro gaming.
Love retro gaming.
I mean, I noticed your background looks like Super Mario 2
It is directly from Super Mario 2. So there you go.
Excellent.
You nailed it.
But no, I'm a big fan and am maybe more obsessed with old technology than ever. But just a lot of it came from passion of learning about video and AV equipment, but also like I like games and like hanging out with folks. So it's all good stuff.
Sounds good. So that is just twitch.tv/easygoodnight. Is that the correct one for that one?
That is me.
All right. Well, I will post a link just as soon as I can pull that up as well. Anything else you want to say while I have you on?
Oh gosh, not a lot, but I really want to thank the community at large. And folks in the Coconut Island Creators Group.
Yes.
For encouraging me, and I believe they were the ones that nominated me, and many of them voted for me. But I just appreciate you all so much. It's very humbling, actually. Considering the incredibly other cool people in this category. Congrats to all of them as well, but thank you all very much for voting for me. And
yes, and I will say you were far and away the fan favorite this year. So congrats on that. It was not even close. So
wow. Okay, that's
way to go. All right, I'm just gonna shout you out then.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. So go check out Easy Goodnight. Follow on Twitch. Do all the things. And yeah, thank you for coming on and accepting. That's been great.
Absolutely. This has been my pleasure.
Awesome. Thanks a lot. All right. So yeah, definitely go check out that channel. A lot of fun. He was playing the old NES DuckTales the other day. I saw the first video game I ever beat when I was like probably 7 or 8 years old. So that really took me back. Yeah, it's a lot of fun on his stream. Anyway, let's move into our next category. Let's see what we got next. So, nominees for Best Leftist Band, Group, Artist,
For you who
so
never lied
forth.
to me, for you who began with buyer beware to me, Lord, hear our prayer. For you, my conspirator, you who only you knew my nom de guerre, call me by my secret cares. Lord, hear our prayer. For the pair of us, walking, arms twist tight, seaside nights in that gay town square. For you who broke my heart before I was aware, I swear, but there you were so rare with your blue eyes and blonde hair. Lord, hear our prayer.
Turn this down just a little bit. You know, louder than I expected. Thanks there, Prom. I'll fix that.
Flying over Castro and the wars we continue to fight. I found a cousin under the cabaret lights. We gave each other confidence to be a mess and to say we won when we made it to second best.
There, that link should work. Sorry about that. I don't know how it got doubled up there. Easy, good night, huh? Well, yeah, that doesn't work. This was an interesting one. This is a Russian band. So luckily they had English translations for the captions. Otherwise I would have no idea what they were saying. But they've been arrested recently for speaking out against Putin and the war. So, pretty cool band. One of my personal favorites, Run the Jewels.
Mastered economics cause you took yourself from squalor. Mastered academics cause your grade said you were scholar. Mastered Instagram cause you can instigate a follow. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Get it? Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar. Get it?
Oh, Spanish band, and I could not find translations for this, unfortunately, but you can tell from the imagery that they're talking a lot about working class and so forth.
She's conspiring now, telling words that have no doubt. They're there to sing out loud. Don't talk about politics, don't speak about immigrants. Keep entertainment light. We're here to sing out loud. We're here to dance around. We won't just quiet down. Never want, never want, never want now. We will sing what we want, no matter how you down. We'll keep our message strong.
All right, congrats to all the nominees. Yeah, it came out pretty well this year. There's a lot of good stuff that I had not heard before. So a lot of good stuff to go check out. I will put this, even though this is a live stream and this is only live on Twitch right now, I will make a VOD of this and put it out on YouTube at some point, which I will then share on Facebook as well. I believe I haven't changed the settings, so the VOD will probably come out on Twitch as well if you want to just go back and peruse and take another look at any of the nominees or maybe some of the stuff you might have missed at some point. There will be a record of it is what I'm trying to get out there. Turn up the background music just a little bit. It's kind of cool. This is the first time I've used the background music for live streaming. But I use Restream, which usually I'm broadcasting to 3 different platforms. Well, I guess, Twitch or Twitter as well. But not many people watch on Twitter. But anyway, I broadcast to the big 3 all at the same time. And this app that does it, Restream, has come out with some royalty-free background music, and you can easily pop into your stream. So that's what you've been listening to. This is the Future Pop channel for that. Yeah, just a little bit extra to listen to as we go along. Keep the mood rolling. Yeah, sorry about that extra good in your good night. I don't know how that ended up happening, but I fixed it. So that link there, twitch.tv/easygoodnight, you can go check out the stream of Mr. Easy Goodnight. Extra, yeah, that's right, extra good. Anyway, Lots of cool musicians, a lot of stuff I had not heard before, and that's just like I had said earlier, one of those categories that I just haven't kept up with over the last year. DJ Rob does have better music than Twitch. I cannot deny that. Maybe a bit heavier than we're looking for just a chill award show, but I do appreciate his stuff quite a bit. They definitely have one of the best. I'll just say they have the best intro and outro music of any live stream out there for We Are Many, which DJ Rob is a part of. I don't know why you call him DJ Rob anyway. He plays guitar and sings, but whatever, James. That's your thing. Anyway, let's see who the winner was for best leftist music of 2022. So congrats to Dog Park Dissidents. That was a cool band. They're like this little punk band of various LGBTQIA members who sing about being working class, singing about LGBTQIA politics, singing about all kinds of cool stuff, and just a fun little punk band to go check out. I highly recommend them. Dog Park Dissidents. Yeah, you are welcome. Pragmatic Pinko. My goodness. Ugh. A mouthful. DJ Rob for a long time. All right. Sounds good, James. All right, let's move on to the nominees for the Best Leftist News Organization of 2022. Probably see some familiar ones. Unicorn Riot. Based at least in part out of Minneapolis, so get some hometown pride for that one. They do some of the best on-the-ground reporting for protests and uprisings and just any sort of conflict with government. They're often on the scene. And they just do interviews with whoever will have them.
The Ransom.
Really
That's the name of a major
The classic
series
Stand
of
By
articles
Democracy Now!
published by the New York Times detailing how Haiti became one of the poorest countries in the world, while bankers in France and the United States made a fortune.
West fellow, have you heard
Some
what's
Cody
going on
Shody
with that
for ya?
guy? Chances are, by the time we edit this episode, there will be so much more to say
Best
about
comedy
Mr. Loves
news
Hitler
channel
so much.
out there,
And while a lot of that
absolutely, for
news
sure.
is extremely disturbing, it is at least extremely funny to see conservatives twist themselves into knots to try to cope with Kanye, taking a dog whistle, attaching it to a megaphone, attaching that to a Fender 68 custom Vibro champ, and then just burning all of that and instead explicitly spelling out that he doesn't like Jewish people to the entire nation.
Yup.
Map breakdown for day 225 of the
Mercado
war in
Media,
Ukraine. This is the
another
map
local
of Ukraine
organization,
here. The red
did a
on the
lot of
screen
coverage
is the
of
assassination advance since February 24th, 2022.
a lot of coverage of the Kyle
This
Rittenhouse
year,
trials.
the blue on the
Being
map
based
is
out of
claiming
Minnesota,
Ukrainian
they were
counteroffensive, so this is
sent a crew out to
territory that Russia
Wisconsin
once
to
held
cover
and
all
once
that as it was
occupied,
going
and
down.
is now
Probably some of
under
the best coverage
Ukrainian
out there of
control.
that event. Now they're focused mostly on Ukraine and Russia and that conflict. People's Dispatch. This is one I was unfamiliar with, but I'm definitely going to check out more because I really like their style.
Hi, this
They do
is
some
Zoe, and welcome to
slick
People's
production
Dispatch.
value.
I'm reporting from Quito, Ecuador.
And they're very international, covering mostly solidarity movements, union efforts, just any sort of socialist pushback of any kind, all kinds of cool stuff. It's going down,
Welcome
which
to This Is
unfortunately kind of seems
May
like they've
21st,
tailed off in the last
2022.
year.
On this episode, we speak with
Because
Kamal
they have not put
Franklin
out
of
any
Community
stuff
Movement
in a while.
Builders about the struggle to build self-determination and community power in Atlanta in the face of gentrification, police violence, and racialized capitalism.
Hi, this is Max Alvarez, editor-in-chief of The Real News, where we bring you media that challenges the status quo and that actually disrupts the tired old narrative.
Another one I was not
forced
familiar
on
with, the
us
Real News
by
Network.
corporations and
They sound
billionaires.
pretty cool.
You know, whether we're talking about the fight against worker exploitation, climate catastrophe, or the prison industrial complex, The Real News keeps it 100.
This I gotta check out more
Hey
often.
there, wake
I've
up,
known about
it's
them for a
Means
while.
Morning
but
News.
11 a.m. on the East
Not
Coast
gone
in
into it.
Washington, D.C., and this
It seemed
is
like
that
fun
source
and
for
informative.
anti-capitalist news and analysis. Thanks for watching. Good morning to everyone. I'm the host, Sam Sachs. You may recognize me from the trailer to the new film Yell, Stomp, Hiss, in which my friends and I travel around the country doing live shows and committing stochastic terrorism against one of the world's richest men.
That's awesome,
The movie
that
comes
project.
out here on Means TV next month. Be sure to check it out.
Yeah, I don't think that's quite out yet, so someone will have to nominate that for next year. It sounds like he was basically just going around trolling Bezos across the country, so definitely all for that. Redfish, did Redfish go down? Oh man, that sucks. I used to enjoy their content quite a bit. I always liked their angle. I thought they were some of the more had some of the higher integrity of the explicitly communist news networks that reported a lot on stuff that would happen in the former Soviet Union and so forth. Yeah, I liked Redfish. That sucks. Anyway, lots of great stuff to check out. There's no reason to not get at least some of your information from a good leftist source. And there's a lot out there putting stuff out daily or at least weekly. Especially when you get into the realm of podcasting, a lot of news shows out there that were not even nominated this year. But yeah, a lot of good nominees this year. I can't find really fault with any of them. So you can't really go wrong following any of those particular channels. Let's see who won this year, though. The people have chosen Unicorn Riot. So congrats. Awesome. I really like that they won. Man, the stuff they did, especially during the George Floyd uprisings, some of the best journalism on the ground there, like bar none. Pretty great stuff. So, and I believe they're also a worker-owned cooperative, so they have that going for them as well. Yeah. That's really sad to hear, Wade. Fascism and another racist stuff crushed them. That really sucks. Yeah, Unicorn Riot is pretty great. They have a great Twitter channel too. They put out a lot of their lives on that. So if you really want like the news as it's happening, that's a good place to follow them. At Unicorn Riot on the Twitter. All right, let's move on to our next category. Making a pretty good clip. We're about a third of the way through. It's only been hour and a half, a little bit more. Oh, I wanted to have it in this form. So, best leftist journalists. So this includes those who are independent journalists as well, not just the big news organizations.
All right, so welcome to another episode of BZ Listening. I am your host, BZ Douglas. I'm an independent journalist based in Cleveland, Ohio, and my guest today is Daniel of the YouTube channel Anarch.
Phenomenal YouTube channel.
I came across this video from Anarch called Modern Anarchism, and it just perfectly distilled everything that I had aspirations to one day articulate or produce in a video that synthesized the history of anarchist thinking and starting to conceptualize my understanding of how it can be applied in a modern context.
And a couple of thousand people showed out to like flip them off. Basically, there were a couple of little fights around the edges.
Robert Evans,
I wasn't
being interviewed by Left Signal Boost TV's very own.
It was just like a whole thing.
The Mind of a Skeptical Leftist.
I was like standing under an overpass where this like line of people is screaming at the cops, and there was this like little young woman, but I don't actually know if she was an adult. Like she very well, just judging by sort of the size in her voice, she might have been like 14 or 15. Okay. And she looks up to me and she says, "Are you Robert Evans?" And I say, "Yeah." And she says, "I like your podcast." And then she pauses a beat and then says, "I wish you were more radical."
Sam Cedar, Emma Vigland on the Majority Report. It is a pleasure to welcome to the program Jonah Furman of Labor Notes. He's the author of Who Gets the Bird, a newsletter on Substack. If you want a sense of what's going on in terms of the labor movement in this country at the moment, Jonah's Twitter feed is a great place to start. Anyways, Jonah, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so will you just back up a little bit for us in terms of what's happened with this labor strike? Give us some background as to how we got to where we are today. Maybe up to how we got to where we are last Thursday.
Sure, yeah. So what people should understand is that in this country, because of strikes in the 19th century, railroads are covered under different law, which uses the federal government a lot more. So there's all these different points where they'll be like, okay, 30-day cooling off, kick it to the federal government, advisory board, mediators, all these things. So these negotiations actually are from 2019. The contract we're talking about is a 2019 contract that has been delayed.
Yeah, I'd not heard of Justin Mason before, but this seems like some good stuff that he's covering. I like the way he puts together his videos on it as well.
My name is Rob Barnell. I'm the president of Local 189 and the District Council Trade Union.
Congrats to all the nominees for Best Journalist 2022. Leftist journalist, that is. Well, people have chosen Robert Evans, the one and only. Has a really great Twitter channel, or Twitter account. I write okay, I believe is his handle. But yeah, you'll find most of his journalism lately on there. He's been doing a lot of work, putting out books and doing other stuff lately, but yeah, still does journalism. All right, so up next is the best leftist TikTok / Reels creator 2022, basically short form leftist video making. I don't know why that cropped that way. That's annoying. So we have counterpoint politics.
The office staff members thought exactly what you were just thinking when I said that, and they went out to check on him. Luckily, he was all right. They offered to call him an ambulance, and he said he didn't want them to because he couldn't afford it anyway. But that's not even the most messed up part of this story. Because the thing is, after this, the office staff come back inside, and they're talking about how they can help this man. It is freezing cold outside, and they're standing in a heated office building, which has half of its offices completely vacant. And they're trying to figure out how they can help this man survive the cold. Now, the obvious answer would be, of course, to invite him inside. But they can't do that, because the owners of the office building won't let them, because it'll hurt their property value. Right now, every city has hundreds, if not thousands, of empty offices that have been vacant since the pandemic. And every city has hundreds, if not thousands, of homeless people, many of whom die every single year due to poor conditions on the streets. It doesn't take a genius to figure out how we could solve this problem, but we can't, because the millionaires and billionaires who own these properties refuse to help these poor people just because it might make them a little less rich.
Also, we don't just give people
system.
housing.
I don't know what to tell you.
So, Mark's that fanboy.
Asians. I can't even handle it.
In case you can't tell, this is satire.
Morning and I just cry at the edge of my bed, and my wife says to me, "What's wrong, honey? What's wrong?" And I said, "The hatred for Caucasians. It's just weighing down on me. Oh, no one likes me because I'm Caucasian. Oh, I read a BuzzFeed article that hurt my feelings.
So yeah, congrats to all the nominees. There was only a couple this year. Side note on that, there was a third nominee, but as far as I could tell, they haven't put out stuff in the past year. I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently next year and just have people nominate their best, their favorite reel or TikTok, like, you know, a single TikTok or a single reel, which is the Facebook equivalent of TikToks. Oftentimes just ripping off directly TikToks, but I mean, who cares? And that way it'll focus people a little bit more to think about the past year and actually pull a single, you know, representation of the creator's work from that last year. because that was a bit of a problem in a few categories, that people would nominate people that hadn't done much in the last year specifically, but might have had great catalogs of work from previous years before that. But it is supposed to be about each year. That's the point of the show, and doing it once a year is to look at the best of that particular year. Anyway, I digress. Let's move on and see who the winner was between those two. So congrats to Counterpoint Politics. Very fun channel, I must say. I saw quite a few of his TikToks and does a good job. So here we have Best Leftist Facebook Page. Quite a few nominees for this, as you will soon see. A lot of people, a lot of pages putting out some really good stuff this year. A lot of memes, which is, it's important. It's important to keep entertained and stuff, but also more substantive stuff.
Like if I buy one of those like little quadcopter drones with the camera on it, like
Yes. We Are
are
Many,
they gonna
the
come shoot
page?
it down with a fucking missile?
Which they live stream too.
Maybe that's how the revolution happens. We just keep dropping $360,000 missiles with things we bought at Walmart.
I love that moment from that stream. That was funny. Revolutionary's Garden. If you like more of the eco-socialism side of things, this is definitely a good page for you. They put out original memes. They link to cool stuff. They have a farm of their own, which they update regularly. One of my favorite pages, Josie and the Pussycats, Leftist Agitprop, and Leopard Print Fabric Cooperative. If that's not enough of a mouthful for you. They do almost entirely original memes, which usually take some character from 90s or early 2000s pop culture and put a leftist spin on it. There you go. Eat the Rich with one of the main takeaways I'm getting from these time banks. Thank you for whoever nominated me. I definitely do appreciate it. Like, it just gets people used to the idea of meeting neighbors and the page, talking to neighbors, and which I usually stream to as well. Actually participating in a community that's not, and it's strangely enough, it doesn't seem transactional in nature. Like, these people genuinely seem interested in getting to know one another. I suppose it could be transactional,
It can go that way. I think
close-eyed viewers might notice Dan Platt from earlier, who is a regular on my show.
Videos are kind of really selling one aspect of it.
Keen-eyed.
And not selling this can replace capitalism, or like how David Graeber, I think you mentioned that you go from debt to currency to barter. It's actually once the currency system reaches its zenith, then you actually transition to a barter economy.
Left Signal Boost TV, which I am very proud of. We are a leftist creator collective. All you have to do is have a leftist project, and you can be a part of our collective. We all are able to stream and post to that page on Facebook. And that way we just kind of collectively boost each other's signals. You can post your merch links, like you can promote yourself, you can post whatever you want. I give people pretty wide leeway. It is Mr. Dan. Good job. But yes, so if you are a leftist creator and you would like to join our project, go check out Left Signal Boost TV on Facebook. Resistance Garden, often mistaken for Revolutionary's Garden, but they are in fact different pages. They just happen to post the same sort of stuff quite a bit and post each other's stuff quite a bit, but also very eco-socialist bent to what they do. A lot of memes as well, but a fun time, but also informative. Afrofuturist Abolitionists of the Americas. Pretty cool. They focus a lot on BLM stuff and anti-colonial things, as the name might suggest. Very, very anti-prison industrial complex. But yeah, good page to check out. We have Return of the Pleb. Or is it plebe? I never know how to pronounce that. Pleb, plebe, whatever. But yeah, again, a lot of original memes and fun content and stuff like that. Which, if we're going to build an actual leftist movement, it can't all just be theory and direct praxis and stuff like that. There has to be room for fun and building those community ties as well. So it's important, even if it's not directly the stuff that makes the change. Moneyless Society post a lot about UBI, and just the idea of moving towards a more communistic society, a classless, stateless, moneyless society. So good stuff. Anarcho-Satanism, one I was not familiar with. Seems like a fun page though. As the name suggests, a lot of reappropriated Dragon Ball Z stuff with a leftist message instead. Yeah, they seem like they have a good time with it, for sure. Prawn. One of my favorites, Catman's Anti-Capitalist Treehouse of Solidarity, putting out some of the spiciest memes you'll see on Facebook, which, Facebook not exactly known to be the biggest hotbed of leftist activity, but it's where I like to spend more of my time than, say, Twitter. It just, it leaves more space for longer form discourse than however many characters Twitter allows. And I mean, Twitter now just a cesspool since the Wonder Kid took over. Musk, yeah. Wobbly Blackbeard, very fun page. Definitely check that one out. Wobbly referring to the name for IWW members. Don't know, there's not real consensus on where that name Wobbly came from, but that is what it means. Still laughing at quote-unquote anarcho-capitalism. Yeah, you need a place to go and dunk on so-called anarcho-capitalists, one of the most confused ideologies out there. This is the place to go. They have all your memes ready to go, so you can just show how stupid anarcho-capitalists are. Another one of my favorites, authentic memes for radical teens. They share a lot of memes and stuff, but they do a lot of their own original stuff as well, as you can see. South Dakota Department of Propaganda, a very huge page actually. I think this maybe has the most followers of any of the ones that were nominated this year, at something like 31,000 followers. So that's pretty cool to see. Coconut Island is nominated for Best Leftist Facebook Group. We're in the Pages section right now. There's a separate category for Facebook groups. So yes, CI was in fact nominated. Millennials for Guillotines. Pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, I like to have two separate categories because they serve separate functions on Facebook, so I like to have both. Your pages are putting out more of your meme content that gets shared around, and your groups are more for discussion and people to share the stuff that they do. Comrade Punisher, I mean, yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Have you ever seen the dumbasses with their Punisher logo with the thin blue line? This is the antidote to that. Supporting the real Punisher. I mean, as real as a comic book character can be, the more canonical Punisher, I guess is the way to put it. Yeah, I agree with that, Prawn. Good to split it up. Omniscient Observer, a very strange one. They like the surreal and kind of Dadaist memes a lot, but they're an interesting one to follow for sure. But yeah, there were so many nominees this year. If I combined all of Facebook together, it would be a very, very large category. Because, like, as you can see, there was what? Oh my goodness. There was something like, yeah, there must be at least 20 nominations for this particular category. So congrats to all the nominees. Let's take a look and see who won. So very, very well done for We Are Many. I really appreciate their page quite a bit. Yeah, keep doing what you guys doing. Also a member of Left Signal Boost TV, the Leftist Creator Collective. So you can see their live streams on that page as well. So here we are into Best Leftist Facebook group of 2022. So here we have the For We Are Many education and discussion group, which is distinct from the page. This is more for discussion, for organizing, stuff like that. Whereas the page is more for putting out content from the group, or from the people at For We Are Many themselves. LeftTube posting. Yeah, if you want to find some new LeftTube creators to go check out, so many people post on this every single day. Basically, any interesting one from creators big and small gets posted there pretty regularly. There you go, Coconut Island. You made it to the big time. Vosh posting Coconut Island, community that I've been a part of for about a year now, and really enjoyed it. Met some really cool people. Easy Goodnight, member of the collective of creators that meets there, as well as Epic Prawn. A lot of good stuff going on there. Baby's First Leftist group, as the name suggests, the place to be for entry-level stuff. If you have some question that you want to know about leftism, but you don't want to get laughed at for asking it, this is the place to go, because they'll be very, very gentle with you and get some good answers for you. So, yeah. LeftTube Rev posting, which was created by Brenton Lengel, friend of the show, also a member of Coconut Island Creators Group, and a member of Left Signal Boost TV. So as you can see, I post there a lot, but you have other people there that post pretty regularly. Small leftist YouTubers. This one was created by the mind of a skeptical leftist. To Corey helped put this together to help promote small leftist YouTube creators. So again, as you can see, a place that I post quite a bit, but not just me. Lord Pete Buttigieg's Casual Imperialist Wine Cave. This is an interesting group because it seems like half the people that come there think that it's just a place to dunk on Democrats, and the other half of the people, including the people that seem to put out the most stuff here, seem to take it as what I believe it is, an actual leftist page that's critiquing, anemic liberals from the left. Leftist dank meme stash, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of memes generated on Facebook. I don't think it gets enough credit for that, but hey, maybe it will again soon as Twitter continues to implode. A group where we pretend to work at Antifa Inc. I was not a member of this group, so I can't show you an inside look at it, just their post that they put up on the outside. Same thing with Antifa TM customer support. I can imagine a good time is had by all in both those groups. Yeah. I don't know how I posted that twice, but should have only been once. Doesn't matter. So congrats to all those nominees. And the big winner is For We Are Many Education and Discussion Group. Way to go, guys. You guys really deserve it. All the hard work you do, organizing so much stuff, putting out many live streams a week. Way to go. Yeah, you're quite welcome. Yeah, if you'd like to come on, Pragmatic Pinko, you're certainly welcome to come on and talk about your group and whatnot. I can send you the link. I don't know if we are friends on Facebook or not, but you should be in the FWAM chat. Yeah, you're in the FWAM chat. So just look for the join link in there if you'd like to come on and accept your award, quote unquote. Accept your accolades for doing a great job as an organization and a Facebook group. Or if Rob is in the audience, or if Trisha managed to figure out how to get her internet working better. I know she was having trouble with that earlier. Anyone from FWAM, if you'd like to come on and all right, Pragmatic Pinko ready to go. Greetings, how you doing tonight?
Hey, sorry. Doing well. How are you? I
Doing
don't know
pretty
if I'm
well.
the right person to accept the award.
Oh yeah, sure, definitely. You're on the show quite a bit. I've seen you a lot lately. So
Oh, good. Yeah, I do the late night.
yeah. So do you want to tell the folks a little bit about what For We Are Many is all about and what you all do?
Yeah, I mean, so we're a leftist unification group. So we work hard to, to gather all the different leftist voices. Like, for instance, the majority of the group is Trotsky. I mean, it's Tankies. I'm a Trotskyite. We have a great many anarchists in the
Mm-hmm.
group, and we just we try to help educate each other and boost each other up, and work together to push the revolution.
Very good. Yeah, I've always found FWAM to be a very welcoming environment for all tendencies. Done a lot of co-streams with them in the past. Not as many recently, unfortunately, but life gets in the way sometimes. And
Yes,
but
everybody,
hopefully, yeah, hopefully in the future we'll collaborate a whole lot more. I'm sure we will, in fact.
absolutely. I know everybody loves your show and the
Thank you.
in
Thank
that
you so
chat. So
much. Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
Yep, and as I mentioned earlier, For We Are Many is also a member of Left Signal Boost TV, the Leftist Creator Collective on Facebook. So if you follow that page, you can see all their live streams and be notified of them as well. Cool. Well, anything else you want to say?
No, thank you again. You guys were very
You're
generous.
welcome. Congratulations. You guys
Much
really deserve it. You deserve it so much. And again, far and away the crowd favorite for this year. So you guys
Thanks
are
so
doing
very
something
much.
right. You're welcome.
Really
All
enjoying
right.
the award show. So thanks
Yeah,
again.
yeah. I've enjoyed your participation in the audience as well. It's been nice.
Cheers.
So, all right. And what was your name again?
Uh,
Besides the
so,
pragmatic Finkel,
so I'm Scott Williams, and
Scott
I'm
Williams. Good.
part of the New England chapter of what we're going to be changing, the Rhode Island Community Housing
Oh, very
and
cool.
FLAM Collective. So
Very cool. Well, good to finally meet you more or less in person. I guess as in
likewise,
person as you can be on the internet. I've enjoyed your content a lot in the past. So
yeah. Thanks very much for that. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the rest of the show.
yeah. All right. Well, thanks again.
Cheers.
See ya. All right. Yeah. Man, they deserve all the accolades that are coming their way because they work harder than any group I know on Facebook and put out a stellar show every single time. Always on top of current events and the late show, which is a little more leisurely, but also covers a lot of current events stuff as well, but has a lot more comedic element to it. All good stuff. So you can't go wrong with For We Are Many. All right, let's move it along to the next nominee. We're about halfway through. So let's see, we've gone 2 hours. So it's probably going to be a little bit longer show than normal. Probably go to about 10 o'clock. Good thing it's Saturday night. At least for me. I don't know. You may be viewing from other parts of the world. I don't think I have any way of knowing that in real time, but either way. Enough rambling. So we're moving up to the best leftist
now
podcast.
Go to a lone man in a barren wasteland,
2022.
lamenting
One of my
his
favorites.
misunderstanding
First up,
of
seriously
survival
wrong.
of the fittest.
God, is this
anarchist
really all that's
skits
left?
a lot.
I've been through so much. I've seen so much horror. Why? Why didn't I dig deeper to really understand what survival of the fittest means? I buried my wife, my kids.
Coffee with Comrades.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Comrades, a podcast discussing current events, theory, and action through a radical lens. What's good, y'all? This week we begin a new Coffee with Comrades mini-series. Patreon supporters will already be somewhat familiar with this 3-part series, but as promised, here at Coffee with Comrades, we don't want to leave anything behind a paywall indefinitely. So we're pleased to bring you the first in a 3-part primer mini-series on socialism, communism, and anarchism.
Thanks for tuning in to the PLR podcast. We are live in the Turtle Show with Daniel from Pondering this week. He's going to join us for the whole episode. What's going on, Daniel?
Nothing much. Just hanging out, living life. You know.
I've not heard of this group, but they seem like a lot of fun too.
Life is suffering. As always, if you like what you hear, follow us on all of the social medias, and then also find our Patreon page. There's some bonus content there.
My plan is when I put out the video of this reel to or the video of this stream to include links to all the different nominees, so you can just go through real easily. Left Reckoning,
I don't know, maybe
a little bit larger
we'll
production.
Latter 45 minutes to
podcast.
the Oscars, but this
But it's,
this is the sort of bread and butter.
Matt
that I
Luck
feel
and,
like,
and
look,
David
we have
Griscom,
this new possibilities
both from the Majority
with
Report.
internet and communications technology that likes to get sold to us as going to be revolutionary. Let's try to actually put some of the revolutionary fuel in there, which is, it starts with a tweet here, and I saw this. Well, it starts with an email actually, but this tweet here, put out by Rob Gill, Wayne Pankratz.
As we always say, history is so important to understand any situation we're in, and so to give more context to all the things we talked about, we're going to do a little special segment of radical military history.
Yep. This is radical. Just going to pause it one moment so you can hear me. But this is an anti-imperialist, anti-war, leftist podcast for veterans. It's veterans talking about their experiences and their disillusionment with being in the U.S. Army and being a tool of empire. Really cool podcast. Good to see them back. I think they had a hiatus for about a year, not too long back, but it's good to see that they're back and doing podcasts again. So yeah, check them out.
History.
Today, your soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard are better educated than before.
Chapo interview is David Sirota of The Lever. David, I wanted to have you on to obviously talk about the disastrous train derailment in
probably the most
well-known
well-known
toxic event in
leftist
East
podcast
Palestine,
out
Ohio.
there.
But it just so as it happens, there was another train derailment yesterday in Houston, also of a train transporting hazardous chemicals. This one killed the worker, the driver of this train. So I guess now I'm having you on to talk about the ongoing state of train derailments in America.
This with all sincerity. You little piggies better like this episode because since day one,
Another member
you
of
have
Left
messaged
Single Boost
me
TV,
wanting
Dixieland
a
of the
fucking John
Proletariat.
Brown episode. You are going to walk away from this episode feeling like you were there in Bleeding Kansas with John Brown. You are going to feel like you were there witnessing him lop off the heads of slavers in Kansas. You're going to feel like you were there at Harper's Ferry with him to the very end.
Port Proles, another member of Left Single Boost TV.
Hey folks, welcome back. This is Elliot.
Do a
with
lot
the
of
Port Proles Almanac.
eco-socialism stuff.
You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever
As
you
well
get
as
your
permaculture,
podcasts.
homesteading.
And you can find us on Patreon if you'd like to help us cover the cost of hosting a podcast. We don't offer any knowledge content related benefits to our Patreons in terms of limited access or anything like that right now. Knowledge is for everyone. And if we get more money than we need, we'll be donating it to good causes, and we'll keep you in the loop. We've also started a new mini-series focused on peripheral stuff for our Patreon folks that will be tied around some subject areas correlated to core content of this podcast. So we'll be talking about things from cottagecore and Joel Salatin to radioactive pigs and lost indigenous crops and much, much more.
Gingivitis has been eroding the gum line
Three Left
of this
show.
nation long enough. We can no longer be a nation indentured.
From
Our
Dan
very
Class.
salvation is at stake.
Earlier
You let
host.
one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
Krusty Krab is unfair. Mr. Krabs is in there, standing at the concession, plotting his oppression.
We can't just have a marching rally and
Comrade
go down
SpongeBob.
Life in this society, being at best another bore. There remains the civic-minded, thrill-seeking, responsible females. Only don't overthrow the government.
QAnon. This is a wild podcast. Going through the Q conspiracy from a leftist perspective. Oh, good to see them still
listeners
going
to
strong.
This special introductory episode of the QAnon Anonymous podcast. We are your hosts, Jake Rockatansky,
Julian Fields, and Travis Yu. In this much-demanded episode, we are going to give you all the tools you need to understand the conspiracy we named our podcast after, as well as the political environment it sits embedded in.
Green and red. Scrappy politics for scrappy people.
And yet another member
A
of
regular
Left Single
podcast
Boost
on
TV.
radical, environmental, and
Green and Red
anti-capitalist politics.
podcast.
Brought to you by Bob Bazanko and Scott Park.
Today we are fortunate again to have Noam Chomsky on as our guest, and today we'll specifically be
I get
talking
some
with
good
him
guests on the show, I gotta
about,
say.
the Democratic Party and the rightward shift in American politics. This is the 50th anniversary of George McGovern's 1972 campaign, which was a disaster for Democrats, and it really initiated a long rightward move for the Democratic Party, for American politics in general. And so we're going to talk to Noam about that, and we're going to start. He's going to talk with him talking about the 1972 campaign and how it led into Watergate.
This one I had not heard of before, but it seems very intriguing. Beyond binary thing. I don't think it's all just leftist stuff, but it definitely is that lens that they're looking through. And there's Brenton Langle, also a member of Left Single Boost TV, on the bottom left.
In a false binary dichotomy. So let's go around briefly, everyone introduce themselves, and as it's the topic today, let's talk about our relationships to religion and communism briefly.
By the time the heat wave subsided, at least 1,000 people were dead. Those are the official numbers, at least. The numbers no one trusts. The city government and the police denied breaking up homeless encampments during the disaster, and only acknowledged a handful of outdoor exposure deaths. On Twitter, someone shares a video of what might be a mass grave. You're not sure if it's real, and you don't really have time to find out.
Hello, welcome to A More Perfect Union. My name is Simon Schumacher, and I'm so excited to have you with me. My guest is Ben Roscoe. He's a sophomore at the University of Washington, and he's double majoring in economics and political science. Now, I want to have a conversation with Ben because for as long as I've known him, he's been a Bernie guy. And
yeah, I didn't know this
much
podcast.
as I might have connotations about what that means, I'm really excited to hopefully
Seems
break
a little bit
down
more
some
progressive,
of those connotations.
liberal
Before I put a label on
left,
Ben,
but you know,
I would love
we
for you,
try to
Ben,
be inclusive here.
maybe label yourself or walk us through very briefly what your politics are.
Hello, my name is Taya Graham, and welcome to the Police Accountability Report. As I always make clear, this show has a single purpose, holding the politically powerful institution of policing accountable. And to do so, we don't just focus on the bad behavior of individual cops. Instead, we examine the system that makes bad policing possible. And
TrueAnon, a very
he fired. I mean, I don't even know the
show.
percent at this point, and it appears that many of these people may have been immediately rehired because they were accidentally fired. But he fired a huge percentage of the staff,
some real deep
all the
dives
while sort of touting these new, sometimes pretty radically different features that Twitter is going to have. I mean, he fired, I believe, every Indian employee or every employee in India. He fired their entire.
Yeah, it's a little different.
Definitely did not fire every Indian employee.
a little bit different.
I love the button clause. I do. It's wonderful. It's so inclusive. It covers just about anybody. But there's one group of people that I think need additional protection, the Amish, because they are not allowed to wear buttons. And to be fair, I don't know if that covers
Not
buttons
allowed
that
to wear
display
buttons. I don't
something
think
as
that's
compared to
true.
buttons which fasten. Those might be different categories of buttons. I'm not any kind of Anabaptist. I don't know.
Oh, I see.
But what does the NLRA have to
Political
say about the Amish? That's my question.
I actually don't know. I mean, I guess.
Citations needed.
This is Citations
Another
Needed
very
with Nima
deep dive
Shirazi and Adam
podcast.
Johnson.
Welcome to Citations Needed, a podcast on the media, power, PR, and the history of bullshit. I am Nima Shirazi.
Very
I'm Adam
important
Johnson.
podcast. You should
How the
definitely
left
follow.
created Trump, revealed Rob Hoffman in Politico in November 2016. Blame liberals for the rise of Donald Trump, insisted S.E. Cupp in the Chicago Tribune the year before.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to another edition of Shano's Brainos.
Fortunately, this
Longtime listeners
podcast,
of
I
Eat the
think,
Rich will
closed
note
its
that it's
doors
been
this
just over a
past
year
year.
since the last one of these.
So it's a good thing they got a nomination in.
Sorry about that. And as you can probably already tell from the title,
Big buttons. That's
today
so
we're
weird,
dealing
Wade.
with the anniversary of yet another horrible tragedy. This time, the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks.
Tribunus plebes.
Welcome, fellow plebs. My name is Sean, and
Sean's
this
been
is
on this show before.
Tribunus
plebes.
Really cool guy. Working class guy, talks about things from a working class perspective and also a leftist perspective.
Welcome
Very
everybody
smart,
back to the podcast.
well reasoned
Today,
in his
I
arguments.
want to talk about class, solidarity, and the labor struggle.
There you go.
I'm going to argue that the way we use class in the United States is purposefully
it out.
misleading.
This is Sam, and this is Southpaw.
And they cover MMA and other fighting styles from a leftist perspective.
This episode
cool
was
little
produced by
podcast.
SH, New
Good,
Guy,
good
and
Facebook
M.
page
Shelton.
too.
Buddy, today on Decolonized Buffalo, we have Tayayaki Alfred, and I'm going to keep my intro nice and short so that he can get
Another
talking,
one that's
'cause we
new
have a
to
lot
me,
of
but
stuff we
seems
want
like
to
a really
cover,
cool
and we're
podcast.
all, Rick and I are very excited.
It's hard to
to
follow all
have,
the podcasts. There's
Tayayaki
just so
on
many.
with us today.
Well, Sego, it's gonna go, Guego. I'm honored to be here.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the D Program. My name is JT. I'm here with my two great comrades, Hakeem and Ugopnik, and we figured in this first episode we would just take a few minutes to go over who we are, what we do, and what we're hoping to achieve with this podcast. We hope you guys will stick around. I think it's going to be a good chat, and we've got some great episodes in store. So, without further ado,
You may
I guess
recognize
we will get
JT
started,
from
and
Second
I'll
Thought.
give you
That's the
my
channel
quick
he runs.
introduction, and then I'll turn it over to the other two. So, my name is JT. I live in the DFW area of Texas, which as we all
reported
know,
on how the U.S. cannot keep track of these weapons.
Bad
And a lot of them
faith.
are not even reaching the front lines.
What is
Kinda,
actually our foreign
you know,
policy
in
goal
my
here when we
opinion,
say that
a
Russia
hit or miss
is
podcast.
a threat?
I do
Corporate
like
media
Brianna
just
Grey, but I
refuses
think
to
she gets
allow
way
on
more
people who apply minimal
hate than
standards
she
for
deserves.
evidence. And they're picking who the next Ukrainian government will be. And the person they had chosen to lead the new government is indeed this guy Yatsenyuk, who became the new Ukrainian leader.
I think Yats is the guy.
U.S. media never reports on the negotiations that have happened so far.
The United States aids Ukraine and her people so that we can fight Russia over there and we don't have to fight Russia here.
Ridiculous statement. As though Russia's ever coming over here. Or would ever have the means to. I think they've stumbled in taking over Ukraine. You think they're going to come over here? Come on. Just ridiculousness. But yeah, as I was trying to say, bad faith. I do tend to like Brianna Greyjoy. I think she gets way more hate heaped on her than is deserving. And I think sometimes the stuff that she does get hate for is maybe stuff that she just hasn't quite thought through all the way. And she should be given a little more space to kind of form her opinions before people just jump all over her. But anyway, still, as I consider it, a leftist podcast. Nonetheless, so let's see who won this year for Best Podcast, which is another stuffed category. I may just have to break up podcasts again next year into different subcategories because there was just so many for this one. I'd like to get maybe some more concentrations around things like I don't know, theory or news or comedy, even stuff like that. So yeah, maybe gonna break it up a little more next year. So the winner by a hair, like I think by one vote, Coffee with Comrades, great anarchist podcast. Moving now into best new leftist stream of 2022.
What are trying to do? Make the place better by
We
being
have Jet
politically
Extremists.
aware, dude. The fuck, bro.
Again, in case you couldn't tell,
Who wants
this
to
is-
be aware of
this is
things
satire.
going on in the modern day, so that way if they ever get fucked over by the political system, they know why it happened, so that way maybe in the future they'll be able to change it as soon as boomers eventually die. Nerd!
Yeah, let's go. So this year there was only one nominee for new leftist streamer, so may have to reconsider that category for next year. But when that does happen, instead of just clipping it out, I like to include everyone. So I believe that Jet deserved to get. Yeah, I wonder who will win. I think he deserves to get a little clip anyway, even if he was the only nominee. But very fun podcast. Does a wide variety stream. So yeah, let's see who won. It's I'm on the edge of my seat, wondering who it's gonna be. So congrats, of course, to Jet Extremis. Go check him out on the Twitch. It's the best leftist streamer. So this is now not just new leftist streamer, but
there's a certain
streamer.
level of
I put the wrong. Oh no, I
like
didn't.
acceptable
Here you go.
things that you can and cannot say. Like
I thought for a second, Prawn, that I had put the wrong title up because I saw Freddy Yeti up there, but I realized now, seeing your icon down there, that it was in fact right. So this is Epic Prawn. It's been in the chat.
I would not to equate it,
Yeah,
but
right.
if you were like,
Especially with streamers, it's hard to know how long they've been going. People tend to just pick it up midway through anyway. So maybe we'll just put everyone into one category of best streamer next year. We'll see.
when Richard Spencer.
But anyway,
got
congrats on your
punched in the
nomination,
face for spouting
Ron.
Nazi shit when that got fucking famous. No one who was serious about like trying to be was being consistent and like, well, you know, we really shouldn't be punching people for saying things we don't like.
Yeah. Thanks
So,
again for the
like,
nomination for this
The only thing
category.
they ever talked to us about was our credit report, like our credit score, our credit report. These are the things that make the big difference. But apparently, secret metric, debt to income ratio.
Of course, the clip I
And
picked
so he's
is
like,
just wall-to-wall
so
James.
instead of that 3.5% down that we've been talking
My most
about,
loyal viewer.
it's
So
gonna be
appreciate that,
10% down,
James.
which brought it from about 8,000 cash to close to, well, first he said 16,000, so double, and it ended up being
experience
when they made their
being
final
denied
offer to us.
home
It was
mortgage.
going to end up being just under 20,000 to close.
Inescapable conclusion for me as a
Surf
Métis
TV.
person living in
Very
Canada
great
is
channel.
that the federal
Lance always
government
does
considers
a
me to
great
be a
job.
form of pseudo property under their control and jurisdiction, and it's an incredibly abhorrent concept to be enshrined in our highest law.
Wait, can you slow that one down and explain it for perhaps non-Canadian viewers? Because this is the first time I've heard this, that you're saying the federal government actually views Indigenous people as property.
All right. It's been a while since we covered Peter at length. For those who are maybe watching,
One of my
this on
favorite,
YouTube, sorry by the way for all the time.
more or less comfort food channels is Hannah Reloaded.
So that's good.
She covers a lot of
Well, you were gone, or rather, well, I was gone from YouTube.
kind of kooky extremists, whether it's conspiracy theorists like Peter. Very interesting dude. She read some of his fiction that he's put out. It is some wild stuff. But she also does like Sovereign Citizens. She was the first person I ever saw cover Andrew Tate. So she broke that story years before he became famous. Really fun show. Hannah Reloaded. Check it out on Twitch.
Oh, he's going to make a lot of false medical claims here. I do not endorse them. What he is saying is false.
Yeah, I really love your show, Epic Prawn. So you should be proud of that nomination. You do a great job, for sure.
Sorry, I didn't read it. I only heard him say it. And she was literally on Forbes magazine. Wow. Can you imagine being on Forbes magazine, but your last name is Piss on
One of
Me?
the first big ones
God
on
damn,
the
that's
leftist
tough.
Twitch space.
Wow. It's like almost as bad as that one guy whose name is like Harry Balls or something. Like his last name is spelled like B-A-A-L
Yeah,
or something
I
like
love
that.
Hannah.
And his first name is
That's
like
good
Harry,
stuff.
like H-A-R-R-Y. Like that's tough. Wow. Sorry, Rachel. No wonder she's a conservative. She must be really unhappy with life.
Right, Wade.
So, in 1889, May 1st was
You
chosen
want to follow a
by
guy
the Second
who actually
International
does organizing
to be the
and
day
has
to honor
been
workers, the
in
global.
the trenches for a long time. Follow.
It's officially known as International Workers' Day to
Also on
commemorate the
Twitch.
Haymarket Massacre. So let's start with some
He
basics.
knows his shit really
Who or
well.
what is the Second International? We talk about
Cool
this a lot. We
anarchist.
talk about Bakunin and Marx fighting at the
Also knows
Second
theory
International,
pretty well.
right?
How a general strike could happen. Let's put it very simply.
Another
Let's start
Minnesotan,
off
Bleep
with
Blanc
one
Ben.
workplace going on strike.
She's
now,
really
the best
cool.
time to go on strike is after
Makes really
some
cool
specific
videos,
grievance.
as in
It's not
addition
some
to
meeting,
live
it's
streams.
not all of
But
this,
live
whatever.
streams are a lot of
It's-
fun too.
If some grievance
She has one of
happens,
the best
right,
laughs
like
in the
somebody
game.
wrongfully gets fired, or some
I don't know if I
worker
captured
is
in this clip.
mistreated in a horrible way or something. That is the moment that everybody needs to walk out of the office and go on strike and make it about that, right? Make it about that, right? You know how much sexual harassment workers face in the United States of America? If you find out that one of your co-workers is facing sexual harassment, everybody at the shop should walk out and call all of the other employees, their other co-workers, and say, hey, we're not going into work until they deal with this problem, right?
Parliament when John Hewson asked Paul Keating,
Real
why
Rad
don't
Hom,
you
another
call
member of
election
the
now if
Coconut
you're so
Island
confident?
creators group. An Australian.
I'll take my time to take my
Incredibly fun stream to tune into. Go check out Real Rad Hom.
so soft and gentle.
You. Is it the same one that tells you everything in life is only available for the white
Lassie
cis
was
het male
a
and
native
women
streamer. I believe he's part of the Dakota.
on this planet?
I think it's Dakota Nation. I'm not
Everybody
sure
else is either non-human
band or whatever.
or subhuman.
Pulling us all out here, jeez.
Look, it's Mr. Easy Goodnight yet again. Congrats on your second nomination.
Yeah, let's distract ourselves.
Did you actually
Let's
go
distract ourselves. Yeah, I'm with you.
Let me continue to get even more possibly mad on our white overlords that I can possibly right now. It's just
How did we get to this point?
Because people didn't vote in 2016.
No. You see, it all started with the gorilla. Like
It started with the
4
gorilla.
years
I'll do.
Another member
and
of
also it's,
CI Creators Group.
It kind of
Purple
gives
Punk
you a
91.
fear of missing out.
A lot of gaming streams.
Because you're just like, what
which is a lot
if
of
this
fun.
is good? What if blah, 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 blah. So it just gives you a fear of missing out. And also, if you have friends that play on ESO and they're just like, oh, do you want to do the Fire Song storyline? And then you're just like, oh, I don't have it. It's like, you know, scenarios like that. And
Yeah,
it does
very
kind
cool
of
voice.
suck in that way.
Guys like my
Bread Crochets, who I always get mistaken for because of our bread commonality, but as the name suggests, he does crochet projects as he listens to Leftist Theory. It's kind of cool.
Anarcho-primitivism, no!
I agree. I don't like and
Welcome to another episode of RBN Live Tuesdays. I'm starting out.
This is a newer
I'm
stream,
CJ, but everybody will be
Revolutionary
joining,
Blackout.
very soon. Can the United
I
States
don't
of
always
America
agree with their takes, but
disagree without
I like
being
that they
disagreeable? And the reason for
they're definitely evolving
this
and forming new opinions
question
and stuff.
is because of a recent article.
Good one to watch.
By VJ Prasad.
Siberia, because all of a sudden nobody cares about Russia.
And hey, it's for We Are Many.
At least not about
their third nomination of the night, which I think is the most
suffering
of
the Russian
anyone.
people. But I mean, last year Siberia was seeing triple-digit Fahrenheit temperatures, which is entirely unprecedented, and it should have gotten more attention in the media than it did. It was basically just swept under the rug. And to clarify, I looked up the average. For those of you in the audience, you're going to hear me repeat this, but we talked about how it was 105.8 degrees Fahrenheit in Paris, right? Do you, Trisha, do you have a guess at all as to what the average
108 in
daily high
Paris.
temperatures are in?
Yeah, word for most nominations.
in
I should
Paris?
add the meta category.
Normal conditions in the summertime, I would guess probably the 80s, not a fucking 100.
74
goddamn
to
five.
77 degrees. 74 to 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
I'm the host, Corey. A lot of people might not actually know me. I consider myself an anarcho-communist. And
Once again, the mind of a
I actually
skeptical
have no
leftist.
idea. I'm more like some random geek where
member
I have
of
no idea
Left
what
Single
left
Boost
unity
TV.
is. I do see places where we can.
This was a
combine
really
forces
good
on things
panel
where
that he
it's
got
like,
together. Ben Burgess,
in union activism,
Anarch,
anti-racism,
his
stuff
co-host
like that, but
Justin,
if there's
and
places
then
where we
some random
diverge,
geek who's
then we're gonna
hilarious.
have to figure out other
Check him out as
strategies.
well. And Janice, who's also pretty cool.
Welcome all to the first Master Debater.
Trish is awesome.
Y'all ready for some Master
You're
Debater?
not wrong on that.
Y'all ready
count.
for this?
Pragmatic Pinko.
Since this is the first one, let me do some explaining. This is the show where debates are made up, and only the
Freddie
last
Yeti,
debate
great
matters.
podcast or great stream.
On tonight's episode, we have Radham and Taj.
Unfortunately, I
Benjan.
don't know if he's gotten back on
There
the
are 6
horse.
rounds.
He had some
In the first 5 rounds of
personal
debates made up
stuff. He had
on
to
the
move
spot.
across the country.
The winner of these rounds.
But
get
I was
time
pleased to
out
see that he
their
filled his
So Jackson Hinkle, who I think has been banned off basically
filled
with
his what do you
went
call
on
it, Kickstarter or
OAN
whatever,
to explain
and was able to
MAGA
actually move. So
communism.
hopefully he'll get back
And for those of
into
you
it.
who are
Yeah, I hope he comes
confused
back
as to what
soon
MAGA
too.
communism
Ron.
could possibly mean. It
Thanks for the
basically means,
follow
like,
and Solari.
Basically, you sit in a
Vosh.
room and you're a white nationalist.
A lot of people like
and you
Vosh.
explain how
He's one of the
actually
first
communism is when America
leftist
is
creators I
great.
really got into a lot.
That- like,
Don't
that's
watch
it,
him
like,
as much
that's
anymore.
literally
I
it.
kind of
Anyway.
And then years later, after
kind
getting
of
what
interests
they
have shifted.
want out of
but,
it,
yeah.
they claim that they were being assaulted the entire time. And in the Catholic Church, you have
Shark. Probably one of my favorite. If you were the kind of person who doesn't like debate bros, I would say check out Shark 30.
POV once again.
Because
Yes, you do
he's
not know
probably
what a
the
signal
most
consent
good
is.
faith of all the
Link surface
debate
video of Matt
bros,
Walsh has him
and he's just
giving
really good
an
at what he does.
extremely horrifying
So,
view on consent.
Meanwhile, we are going to be
Shark is pretty
watching
awesome.
Kanye West.
Hasanabi, one of my favorites.
The conversation with
Watching it
Ye,
pretty
the
much
legendary
daily.
artist, producer, and designer, formerly known as Kanye West.
Mostly entertainment,
This
but you know he'll
collects
throw in
streaming
some leftist politics
Bro,
once in
it's
a while.
literally, look at this, bro. Look at this. The Holocaust starts at the 25th minute and goes on for
Very
1
good at
hour
dunking
and
on
14.
right-wingers.
Holy, you talked about the Holocaust for an hour. There is no
And still
shot
the
that is
largest
productive.
leftist Twitch streamer out there. Because he was one of the first to
already
Kush
reading this
Vlog
book, I have
from
a
Matt
feeling I'm not
Chrisman
gonna
of
go
Chapo Trap House.
as forensically through it.
If
the
you
way
like
that
to
I
go
am with,
on very
the
deep
way that we did
dissections
with
of
Dawn of
leftist
Everything.
literature,
Uh,
he's definitely your guy
a lot
to
of
follow.
it, and that was largely because of how much of the information in that book was so fucking completely new to me, and how little I had.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Prom.
Whereas
It's like
I
a lot of
probably
it's
tell
just
with this book,
entertainment
we'll see
value,
as we
but
go.
you know, I know what I'm getting into.
This is
It's kind of
basically taking
comfort
a story
food.
that we all kind of understand, but we all know the basic structure of.
Fight against that abortion. Like, she's
Luna
a
Oy.
fucking 10-year-old girl.
Controversial
and she
figure.
was raped. and her family
but
with
I think she
her
does know her
went there
stuff
to seek
pretty
for
well.
help. And like hundreds of people outside of that
Yeah,
clinic, outside
I
of
know
that
what you
like
meant, Prom.
hospital, protest to stop that abortion. Like, so what the fuck do they want? Like, they want the 10-year-old girl to die during that pregnancy or something?
Yeah. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand. And the thing is that, again, for people who are unaware.
All right, so congrats to all the nominees. Another fairly large category. Lots of nominees for streamers. So way to go, Mind of a Skeptical Leftist. I don't know if you're out there in the audience, Corey, but if you are, you're more than welcome to come on and share a little bit about your show. But we'll move on
Hello,
to
everyone, and welcome back to
Best
another
New
episode
Leftist
of
Video
the
Creator.
Episodes I Do.
Again,
We're here
with these... I'm going to pause it,
Charles.
not to talk over Cyber Dandy. With these new categories, so this is the Best New Leftist Video Creator. Again, only one nominee for the category. So I like things to, it does not like they have to be competitive, because again, whoever wins is not really the point. But I think maybe you'll just roll it all into one category, since everyone will still get their clip. But yeah, this is another one where there was only one nominee.
AKA RC Roberts.
Our newest member
And
of
today
Left Signal
we're
Boost TV,
going
Cyber
through
Dandy.
A very special topic to me. And
Yeah,
it is
running
the
unopposed.
topic of Jean-Paul Sartre's critique of dialectical reason. Now, we're also going to go over some other things about Sartre, but we're sticking mostly to the critique right now. Charles, our guest, he is a writer for Sublation Magazine, which is Doug Lane's new project.
Cool magazine. I like Douglas Lane a lot.
It's going to launch on May 1st.
So yeah, congrats to all the nominees. As will come as no surprise, Cyber Dandy is the winner. So congrats, though. That's really cool. First year, first nomination, first win. So that's off to a good start. And I can't wait to see more from you.
Everyone.
So here's just the general best
This is your
leftist
time
video
to
creator
rejoice.
category.
One of the most important
Government
historical
issued
figures
memories.
of our time has returned. That's right, we're talking about the legend, Caleb Maupin.
Oh man.
He's back. Now, you might have thought he was gonna pull a Virgil Texas and disappear into the shadow realm forever after the allegations came
I like
out.
this video. I'm gonna have to check
But
out more of this guy.
After a few
'Cause
months
I
of
was
going
not too
into
familiar with him
hiding, he has
before.
come back to address the allegations.
And exposing me, they exposed themselves. The fact that I can look into the camera every day and do my job on international television,
Oh, how the
despite
mighty have
having my
fallen.
deepest, darkest personal secrets all
For those of you that don't know, Caleb Maupin was exposed as being a real creep at the very least, and also probably pressuring people into sexual acts in return for housing. And also the way he runs his little collective there. He basically sets it up where they have to, his people that live there with him, they're supposedly pushing the revolution, right? So he drills in all this stuff into their head. He's basically running a cult where he has them go out on the street every day and sell mostly his books in order to pay for the room and board. And then he puts them up in a shitty apartment somewhere in New York City. And they all live together. They work long days, 12, 16-hour days, something like that. And he gets a lot of the profits, right? Because he takes in all the money and just basically gives them room and board. So I really do not like Caleb. I didn't like him to begin with. His kind of conservative version of communism that he espouses. It's more like a socially conservative communism, which to me just doesn't make a lot of sense. It's kind of like the anarcho-cap, but for the communist side. It's just a blending of things that don't work. He's praised Alexander Dugin quite often. Says basically the only thing that they disagree on is the inevitability of social progress. For those that don't know, Alexander Dugin, literally the guy that coined the term Nazbol, so National Bolshevik, or, you know, socialist Nazi, basically. He would be like the Strasserites of the Nazi Party. So those that want socialism, but only for a select few. So a lot to dislike about Caleb. He wrote a really anti-Semitic book called Satan at the Fountainhead, all about how the Jewish cabal controls the world, including the media and stuff. So all around, seems like kind of a scumbag. I know I have friends who do like him and have known him personally and swear that people get him wrong. But especially after these allegations came out about the woman who he basically was giving housing in return for, and, you know, no kink shame, but he was basically employing her as a dominatrix, and he would give her housing. But he kind of set things up to manipulate things in a way where she basically had no choice because she was dependent on him for her housing and stuff. So, yeah. So there's a little thing about Caleb Maupin. So if you hear that name come up, you have a little bit of an idea what kind of a dude you're getting into. Yeah, Lyndon LaRouche, that name sounds familiar. I don't know that story particularly, but yeah, Caleb is pretty safe to say a slime ball.
Over the internet
at the very least
shows that I'm pretty resilient. They didn't take me down with their long, drawn-out internet gossip column.
Oh, and by the way, he was organizing with the Communist Party of the USA, CPUSA, and they kicked him out for being a creep. So there's that too.
Like several weeks ago.
Trans Cat Dad, another member of the Coconut Island Creators Group.
In the trans timeline subreddit, or like a shared trans space, and shows a
hope to see more from them this year.
Before they started transition, they looked
he doesn't
like
put out too many
a
videos.
traditionally attractive woman, and then, you know, post transition, they're a guy, as was their goal. And almost always there's a trans woman who says, haha, why did you transition? You look so pretty before. You should have stayed a woman, which is just, it's just transphobia. You don't say that. That's not fucking okay at all, period.
Yeah.
Almost every discussion
Very
of
cool.
capitalist realism starts with either
And
a
second
description of a
thought.
book, a movie, or with a quote. So here's all three
One
at
of
the
my
same
favorites.
time. In the movie The Usual Suspects,
Cool cat.
Kevin
Yeah.
Spacey's character quotes French writer Charles Baudelaire when he says, "The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist." Capitalism works the exact opposite way. Today, capitalism is the only thing that exists.
But first, we do need to talk about this whole overturning Roe v. Wade thing, because going back almost 5 decades in human rights,
Oh, good
progress
to know.
is kind of a
Pragmatic
big deal.
Pinko.
Or according
Yeah,
to some
sounds pretty bad.
big-brained experts, it's totally not, actually.
Do you think that the states should have the right to be able to determine abortion laws? Because it won't change the laws in yeah, that's all Roe v. Wade overturning means that Colorado, can have abortion, like they have all the way up until 9 months, and Texas can have a heartbeat bill.
Yeah.
So again,
Yeah, it's states'
gonna be
rights,
let
yeah.
1,000 flowers bloom.
God.
It's going to be each state gets to
The
decide
worst
on its
argument
own
that the
specific
right has come out
abortion
with
protocols,
about
which
abortion
is
recently.
precisely what the Constitution suggested at the time.
For the people who say we're going back to 1973,
And then there's Bill Maher, who never was on the left. Like, people give him way too much credit for even being a liberal. He's always been, a boomer take sort of guy. He's even said, "Oh, no, I didn't change, the left changed." Well, yeah, right. Everyone moved past you. You just got more and more conservative. I really can't stand him. The only take he's ever had that I stand behind was when he stood up right after 9/11 and talked about the cowardice of lobbing missiles into a country from the sea, from the U.S. military, and bombing a poor ass country, that being Afghanistan, safe in their far away enclosures. But since then, so he hasn't had a good take since 2001 when he got canceled for it. since then, you know, oh God.
We're not.
Anyway.
Gotcha, womb havers.
He'll show up
It's no
later in
big
this
deal
this
after
broadcast as
all.
well.
All of you folks upset
Bill
about this
Marwell.
news are just on your periods.
Yeah, some more news.
It's
If you're
just
sleeping
that
on
some
that, definitely
states
check
can
it out.
choose not to allow abortions. What about their choice, huh? And
But you got triggered by a story about women who have laptop stickers that just say positive things about women.
To me, my mind immediately went to, especially after hearing
That was
him
Dennis
talk
Prager,
about,
by
like,
the way.
oh, back in my day, well, the good old days,
Everyone's
women would
reactionary
toil
uncle
away
or
thinking
grandpa.
about their potential boyfriends and partners, and they didn't care about anything else. Like, I just thought about how obsessed
Anyway, this is
he
Give Them an
is
Argument,
with
Ben
women
Burgess'
staying home,
show,
having
also
babies,
in podcast form.
like catering to their husbands, like
He's
just
another
the
debate bro that I really
traditional, like
respect,
1950s
even if I
nuclear
don't
household.
always
Like, it
entirely
seems
agree.
like, based on everything I've
but-
seen from him,
basically
he just
good guy.
longs for those days. And
Oh, it feels like I've had this mask on for
Philosophy
so
tea.
long that parts of my face have slightly changed shape. That's better. Hello, my name's Abigail. Welcome to Philosophy Tube, a show about ideas. I've got something quite
Great show.
exciting for you today, something that's been in the pipe
Continues
for a
to put
long
out really
time.
great work year
For the
after
last
year.
couple of years, I've been volunteering here in the UK with a group of independent scientists and scholars.
If you're feeling just an ambient anger,
One of my new favorites
tough,
of this last year.
we'll tell you
R.M.
where to
Brown.
put it.
So there is one group of religious extremists that Garland has no interest in reining in, even though
Okay.
they commit actual crimes, and those would be climate fanatics,
Oh.
who are determined to end Western civilization and
commentator is the
destroy
best.
everything in it.
Right.
Not Eastern civilization. China's totally fine. Our cultural inheritance must go.
Okay.
So their lunatics are also criminals. And two of them today from the group Just Stop Oil, oh, it's that simple, just stop oil. Settle down,
Calm
trust
down.
funder.
Calm down, Tom.
Anyway, two of them were arrested after throwing tomato soup on Vincent van Gogh's famous painting Sunflowers. That
Oh,
would
boy.
be in the National Gallery in London.
That was such a nothing story. Didn't damage the painting.
Sniffing.
They just wiped it right off. There's a
So
protective
Tuck's got
coating
his little
over it.
chinos, and
But
what
of
can only
course,
be described.
Tucker Carlson wastes no opportunity to say crazy climate fanatics, but yeah, gotta love R.M. Brown. Just the way he roasts these right wingers. That's his big shtick. He uses a soundboard. He has all these crazy sound effects and sound clips that he pulls up and just roasts the idiocy of the right wing.
Described as a massive bunch, okay, a little bunch. He's got them bunched up about the soup kids, okay?
The soup kids.
We live in a consumer society.
This one I hadn't heard of before, but it seems like one
Our
that's
lives
worth
revolve
investigating
around
further.
shops, supermarkets,
They do some
new
good
experiences,
documentary-style
new
presentations.
We're in the midst of one of the busiest shopping weekends of the year.
The notion of the conscious consumer has certainly gained traction.
The textile industry in Leicester has been under investigation.
We live in a consumer society.
Oh, I don't know why that replayed.
Our lives revolve
great.
around shops, supermarkets, new experiences, new stuff.
I must have accidentally
We're in the
copied
midst
it
of
twice.
one of the busiest shopping weekends
well.
of the year.
The notion of the conscious consumer has certainly gained traction.
The textile industry in Leicester has been under investigation.
A world surrounded by image, advertising, marketing, one-day delivery, product placement, gadgets, and fast fashion.
For the Citizen Army, 1915, James Connolly.
Anti-imperialist
The Citizen Army was
Action
founded during
Ireland.
The Great Dublin Knockout of 1913-14 for the purpose of protecting
Seems
the
like
working
a pretty
class
cool
and of preserving its
organization.
right of public meeting and free association. The streets of Dublin
Resisting
have been
English
covered by
oppression
the
still.
men, women, boys and girls, brutally battened by uniformed bullies of the British government. 3 men had been killed and 1 young Irish girl murdered by a scab, and nothing was done to bring the assassins to justice.
Today, we're going to be looking at how The Boys, Amazon Prime superhero series, is ultimately
Jesse
one of the most
Gent.
political and left-leaning shows on television, despite many right-wing folks claiming the series as their own, as well as the fact that despite its seeming critique of capitalism, the show is made by Amazon, one of the
Pretty
most
good
capitalist companies ever
video
to exist.
essayist,
So,
I
oh
must
boy,
say.
this video's not going to be
Jesse Gent.
controversial at all.
Or you could take the blue pill. Was it the red pill? Anyway, take the other pill and quit being a cunt. Which pill do you want me to take?
In my last video about Amazon Prime's The Boys, which I released last week, we discussed how many right-wing people have misinterpreted The Boys, venerating characters like Homelander without recognizing that the Superman-esque hero
How do you know
was a
that's not
critique
a
of American
parody?
imperialism,
Come on.
nationalism, and rampant
He's
corporatism.
draped in the American flag. Right wingers have no sense of irony. Let's see who won this category. Congratulations to Second Thought. Did a real great body of work this last year, I gotta say. Moving on to the best leftist video of 2020, so best single video. This was my personal favorite. I Emailed My Doctor 133 Times by Philosophy Tube.
My name's Abigail.
I'm just going to pause a moment to talk about it, but she basically goes in through this entire ordeal of trying to get more trans-affirming care through her doctor, which she lives in the UK, supposed to have better health care than the US, right? But not quite for trans people. And just the struggle and the agony of having to re-explain herself and justify her needs and so on and so forth. For me, the best Philosophy Tube videos are the ones where she really puts herself in it, like her emotion, her personal perspective of it. It reminds me a lot of The Cosmonaut, which was the first really major Philosophy Tube video that spoke to me quite a bit. Like, I basically broke down and cried at that video. It hit so close to home. But when she does that, man, there's nothing like that on YouTube, really, that I'm aware of. So this was my personal favorite of the year. Just want to put that out there.
Over the last few years, I have emailed Britain's national healthcare provider 133 times.
That's true, Pragmatic Pinko. When it comes to naming things, they have irony. Otherwise, they don't know when they're being parodied or satirized.
As research, I've spoken to some of the NHS's most senior administrators. So over the course of this rational analysis, I'll be revealing some exclusive insider information. The video is sponsored by Nebula, but after I've paid back the owner of this laptop, I'll be donating the rest of that money to charity. So you can sit back and relax as I bring you a calm, dispassionate exploration of the big questions at the heart of Britain's National Health Service.
Here we go. Triggered with Bill Maher by Amon Animation. This is the best takedown I've seen of Bill Maher so far.
Thank you very much. Oh, that is a wonderful greeting. I appreciate that. There's this meme. Is this a meme, kids? I think this is a meme. I hear it all the time. Happy wife, happy life, which, it sounds so sweet, but it's really a threat. It's a nice life you got there.
Amon Animations takes real audio of a lot of times reactionary. Sometimes he props up fingers in a positive light, but just really biting satire. And as you can see, it's animated. There's a lot of body horror sort of
1 in
stuff.
4 American adults have not had any sex in the past year, and you thought California was in a drought.
And these are real jokes from Bill Maher.
Men.
How anyone follows that dude, I don't know.
Starting a fire. Spray on deodorant.
This is a really good, thoughtful video by Chill Goblin.
Never asking for directions. Quickly rubbing deodorant on your crotch when you woke up too late to shower. Pooling money with your roommates to buy a samurai sword set from a convenience store. Punching a bear in front of a goddamn explosion.
I like his sense of humor a lot.
About being a man. Another thing I know, men really hate being trapped in a prison of the mind. Mental prison's not cool. It's a guy thing. But what if I told you that a lot of us men are in mental prison? Sadly, it's true. But there's good news. Using philosophy,
Pops the top off of his eye.
Escaped. What's manlier than breaking out of jail? I'm talking, of course, about the prison of gender. I know, gender, right? Dudes are interested in learning about gender theory. But on the other hand, gender is fucking fascinating. It's the
creators, the unavoidable subject of 2021 has been NFTs.
This was the single best video I saw about NFTs and how they're just horrible tools, which we all know now. But back when they were really blowing up last year, this was the best takedown that I found from
And I do
Folding
want to
Ideas.
talk about that. I want to talk about my opinions on NFTs and digital ownership and scarcity and all the myriad dimensions of the issue, but I don't just want to talk
That's
about
completely
NFTs.
spot
I
on.
can't just
Pragmatic
talk
Pinko.
about NFTs
Maher is
because
concerned
ultimately
mostly
they're
with
just
being the
a
smartest guy in the
symbol of so much
room,
more, and it is that
more so than
more
being
that is
right or
ultimately
edgy
important.
or
So let
even
me tell you
funny.
a story.
He's just the epitome of smug and condescension. Line goes up. So I think mainstream is pretty much caught on with that now. They know NFTs are bogus scams. But back then, just last year, they didn't.
The following program is a work of fiction.
This is the
created for
only video put
educational,
out by
artistic, and
ContraPoints
harm
last year. I was
reduction
very
purposes, in
disappointed
compliance with the
that she
Video
didn't do
Corp terms
more.
of service. I love Video Corp. I love
Dissolution of Smug. That's awesome, Wade.
Is a super crazy coincidence. May the great
This is a
God,
fantastic
Lord
video
Jesus
too by
Christ be with
ContraPoints.
you.
I highly
T.S.
recommend it as
Natalie
well.
War. What is it good for? Absolutely
I love her
quad,
characters.
fam, everything. According to the National Institute for Strategic American Liberty Heritage Enterprise Prosperity Commerce Policy Research. Hi, I'm Jackie Jackson. You're listening to the Freedom Pod, where it doesn't matter what you say.
Dressed as
It only
Lady
matters
Liberty.
that you say. We don't discriminate here between what is true or false or even downright dangerous. That's none of my business. It's none of America's
It's like
business.
the ultimate
important
radical
thing
centrist.
is that you never stop talking. Because that's what freedom is all about. Tonight, the war on drugs. How do we
And as usual, you cannot beat her
goddamn
sets.
junkies off
The most
streets?
meticulously crafted sets in the biz.
The ideal that
This is a good one by FD Signifier. I think this is what really first made me take notice of his channel last year. I know there's been a lot of hate towards him lately,
The
but
question is, are you hungry enough and willing to fucking eat shit?
I think he's
or are you soft?
willing to own it when he makes mistakes, and I find that is
So the thing is this, you gotta understand uncomfortable realities about
a
women.
really
One of the most uncomfortable realities is
refreshing
women
thing to say,
It is
to
what
see.
it is, guys. It's hardwired into them.
He's willing to learn in public.
That means that they will die alone.
And he's always very
What it means
thoughtful in his
is
analysis.
You will, in effect, leave
Even if
this
he
planet with nothing to
maybe
show
he's a bit hasty in some analyses sometimes.
Nihilism is what scares me in young dudes the most nowadays, because I think the moment that like people do start,
This is a really good takedown of the
particularly young
manosphere,
dudes,
though.
start embracing that nothingness. That to me
Which
where
is,
all
you know, the
dark
men's
shit
rights
comes from.
activists,
It's that
Red
absence
Pill,
of belief
you know,
that I think makes such a hard time for
MGTOW, men going their own way, all that crap, pickup artists. Really good breakdown of all that stuff, as well as, well, not allowed to say it on,
So almost
but
a year ago,
the
I released a video called Edgelord Movies.
I don't know how you say
It was
that
actually
word
loosely
without
based
saying
on
it.
research I had been doing for years.
The people that
on the manosphere, specifically around
haven't
spree shooters
been
for
with
my graduate stuff. I had only been
the object of their affection
Have you ever been in a union? Just side question.
non-voluntarily.
I was in a couple.
Oh,
I've
this
been in
debate
the,
was insane.
I've been at the UFCW, and
This
when
was
I was
a
working in
wild
Michigan,
debate between Ben Burgess, the only leftist on the stage, with a bunch of right-wingers. So there's, of course, Dim Fool, James O'Keefe, who now has even been dropped by by his stupid, grifty right-winger organization. Tulsi Gabbard, who did her Why I Left the Left arc this year. Just some of the worst people out there. And Ben really held his own.
Disciplinary process. Then you would have had the option
Talking
of
about how
having them
great
represent
unions
you in
are.
that process.
Even if bad things happen, you want to have a union
I don't want
protecting
to get into an
you.
argument about unions, other than to say, like, your subjective perspective.
It's not subjective. It's a fact that the effect of unions is to give you due process.
And sometimes they don't, because humans are
Say, for the sake of argument, there's this. Call him a provocateur.
Innuendo
a conservative
Studios.
who makes his living off
This
being a public
alt-right
figure,
playbook
saying
is
scandalously evil
essential
things in public
watching
because
to
controversy
understand
equals
the
attention,
alt-right
and attention equals brand recognition.
and just
He
the,
gets his
the
writing
thought
gigs
process
and interviews
of
and guest spots, sometimes because
right-wingers.
people agree with the awful things he says.
Especially
More
the
often
online
it's
right.
because he gets views. His economy runs on engagement, and hate clicks are still clicks. One revenue stream is speaking engagements, the college campus circuit. Fans at, let's say, UC Emeryville invite him as a guest lecturer. But UCE is broadly a progressive campus, which means his presence there would likely provoke a lot of
Getting
outrage.
towards the end of the show
And
now.
a protest.
We only have
And a protest would be
this is
pretty
the
flippin'
last
sweet. Protest means
major
local news
category,
coverage,
in fact.
maybe more than local. Hell, the conservative media machine loves taking stories like this and blowing them up to national importance. If he plays his cards right, he could get
Yeah,
his
this is
words
the
in
last
front of millions of people
serious
instead of
category.
just
Then we
the
get into some
student
more
body
fun
of
stuff
UC
next.
Emeryville. Of course, he's gonna take that gig.
Thank you all for sticking
but
with
the
me.
progressive
It's
students
been
at
a really
UCE
fun
are
show.
wise to his tricks. They've seen him pull this stunt at other UCs, Stockton, Bakersfield, Vacaville. So they make the decision, we're not gonna protest. We're just gonna let him speak. Let the boy stamp his feet, and in a month, no one will even remember he was here. As the day...
I found this to be a really
So,
good
I am
video
not,
essay as well.
But I'm told they
Really
exist, so
struggled
we
with
should talk
some
about
some
them.
tough
And before we even
questions.
think about talking about them, we have to define what they are. Obviously. So, what is the definition of a woman? Personally, I don't give a f. I know what a woman is. A woman is what your dad said he felt like when I was railing him last night.
God.
But we're at a point now where we have to define what a woman is. And that's because of a guy called Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, seen here looking like a reanimated 1970s geography teacher, is a conservative pundit known for his controversial mind, who made a feature-length documentary about his
The
journey
dumbest
to discover the
documentary
truth,
of the year.
wherein he asks some zany progressive types to answer the question, what is a woman? One of the big exposés of this documentary is that quite a lot of progressive people, even professors of gender studies, can't give a good definition.
I disagree with him on that one point. Like, Matt Walsh just skimmed over all of their answers because they didn't want to give a simple, clean answer like woman is booba or something like that. They wanted to say, oh, that's a very interesting question. Well, it's a social construct. Let me go through all the different facets of it. And he would just like fast forward and fast forward and fast forward. The dumbest documentary of the year. That should be a category next year. But yeah, anyway, I slightly disagree with Lonerbox on that one point, but you know, you'll see where he's going with it.
For me, it's actually a really simple answer, and that's a person who identifies as a woman.
But what are they identifying as?
As a woman.
So what is that?
As a woman.
And that professor could have given a better answer, because I think that is a legitimate way of framing it. A woman is someone who identifies as a woman. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's going to be different for everyone who identifies as woman, isn't it? Because it is. There's no one category or characteristic that is true across time and space and culture that can fit that, well, this is a woman and that's not. So it's going to be very individualistic and very different from person to person. But yeah, overall it is someone who identifies as a woman. I think that's a fine answer to give, even though he's trying to make it seem like it's a circular argument. It's just that it's not that cut and dry. It's nuanced based on the person.
What a circular definition is?
I do.
Sort of.
It would be like asking, you know, why did people vote for X candidate? There's no one answer for that. It's going to be different for every single person. Or, you know, define anything. You're going to get a million definitions for it. It's just the inadequacy of language that we're not going to have a single definition of what anything is. There's going to be gray areas. There's going to be fuzzy edges. So, but
like
anyway,
what you're doing right now, where a woman is a woman.
Now, you know what, Matt? On this point, I agree. Anyone who identifies as a woman is not a good definition. A circular definition is not a definition at all. The whole point of a definition is to give you a better understanding of a word, and this just doesn't do that.
Well, sure, and there's non-binary in there
is
as
just
well,
as
so
useless
that
as
doesn't fit a man or a woman.
this
So you can't just say it's
But coming back for a second,
anyone who's not a
why is Matt
man,
Walsh doing
because that would
Is the center of this man's
also
political
exclude
message really the fact
non-binary
that
people.
some people
So,
struggle to define the word
yeah.
woman? Or is this more
Right,
like Martin
good
Bailey,
point,
where you
Brom.
get your foot
Mountain
in the
and
door
Hill,
with a fairly
identical
defensible
definitions.
statement, and then follow up with your real beliefs, which are maybe a bit less savory? Maybe that's why he made a documentary about how some progressive people might look silly when they try to define what a woman is, and not what he really believes, which is gender transition should be illegal for anyone of any age.
That's what they're pushing
But
right
let's
now.
not make this about Matt Walsh.
Trump recently said that same thing.
It is very different
Anyway.
from building something good.
Lonerbox did a good job of going through the nuances, and he came up with a adequate alternate definition himself. I believe it just came down to him is an adult female. So again, you get into the, well, what does that mean? But anyway, it was a good video. It was worth a watch, and he thought through it pretty well.
To see our life in the Marvel Cinematic Universe would be an absolute nightmare for the average person living on planet Earth.
This is Marvel Defenders of the Status Quo by Pop Culture Detective. Another really cool channel
And not just
that I
because
just
of
discovered
super
this
beings
last
flying
year.
around causing near extinction level events practically every other week. This is a universe where very little
They
social
don't always do
progress
explicitly
can
leftist
ever
stuff,
really be
but
made.
you can definitely tell that
While
that's
the
their
heroes do usually
lens.
manage to roll back the various apocalypses, they don't use their superpowers to help build a better world. They instead spend all of their time defending
That's
the
very
status
true.
quo.
Heroes are conservative. Superheroes are always conservative. They're never actually using their powers to progress society.
Okay, I am so sorry. We are less than a minute in.
This is probably the best breakdown of the timeline of Uvalde and that entire debacle.
But let me tell you, folks, this will probably be a toughie. I'm guessing there
somewhere
will be a
news.
puppet. What did I just say? All that being said, we are currently on the riverboat of news, and there's no getting off until we do the news. That's just water law. So here's some news. It's been nearly 4 months since a gunman entered Robb Elementary School on May 24th and killed 19 children and 2 teachers, as well as wounded 17 others. This was the second deadliest K-12 shooting in America, you know, just being the other time an elementary school was attacked. Now, there's obviously a lot to say about this event in terms of gun control and
Superman Red Sun. I don't know that one, Wade.
that if a government is so bogged down
Tell me a little more about it.
gun worship that it can't do anything useful in the aftermath of such an event, then that government might be irreversibly broken. It seems weird we didn't do much after the first elementary school shooting, but here we are. We're actually not gonna talk about any of that, though. Not just because it's like, it's exhausting, but more specifically because something odd happened in relation to this specific event. In addition to everyone having to emotionally process the shooting,
Oh,
there was a whole
cool.
extra
Yeah,
point
I would
where
love
no
to see
one
that.
seemed to know
That sounds really
exactly
fun.
what the hell actually happened that day. There was a lot of confusion around the timeline of events and multiple conflicting stories coming from the police. It sure seemed like the cops were, you know, liars. And then, before we really knew,
Jordan Peterson made the following tweet about the cover of a Sports Illustrated magazine that featured a fat woman.
Big Joel, always a fun time.
Sorry, not beautiful, and no amount of
His essays tend to be more entertainment focused than
This tweet simply makes no sense at all. For one thing, it's obviously
informational, I guess,
a
but it's still fun.
he's getting absurdly upset about. The
And
reality is, fat women exist. There are a lot of them. Their being present on some magazine selling swimsuits is really just a completely normal thing. And even if we
Batman in a
accept that Sports
Yushchenko.
Illustrated, for some reason, should only cater to horny men who want to see hot ladies, it is still a wildly stupid thing to get mad at. I don't know how to break this to you, but many, many men date fat women. They marry them, they have kids with them, they have sex with them, and yes, they enjoy this fact. They fantasize about it.
So here again, we have another definition. What is a beautiful woman? That is going to be completely subjective to whoever's viewing women. For some people, it's going to be no women. Some people are just don't have that sort of attraction to anybody, or to women, or cannot appreciate the beauty of the human form. Like, for some people, it's going to be every woman. Like, you know, there's no one definition of what a beautiful woman is. So for Jordan Peterson to get so mad that he found in the pages of Sports Illustrated one woman he found unattractive is such a stupid thing to get mad at. But Jordan Peterson is totally incapable of seeing the world through anyone else's perspective. It's why he when he first came on the scene, his big argument was, oh, when women wear rouge and lipstick, that's a invitation to hit on them, because those simulate sexual arousal. Well, okay, they might want to look attractive. They may even want attention from whoever they are attracted to. But that's not a specific personal invitation to you because you find them attractive to go and then harass them until until you wear them down and they date you or whatever. It's not wanting to look attractive doesn't mean you want every single person you pass to be attracted to you and ask you out on a date. You can just want to look attractive just for yourself. But he just could not wrap his head around it. He was like, oh, they should be disallowed from wearing makeup in the workplace because it elicits sexual attraction. Yeah. And all of Jordan Peterson's political analyses basically boil down to, this is an intractable problem that we just can't figure out. Nothing's ever going to get better about it. That's like his non-solution to everything. Except for maybe cleaning up your room. But I guess that just makes your room better. That doesn't help society. He's just the biggest pseudo-intellectual on the scene right now. Nothing of value has been said by Jordan Peterson. Other than the most, bland, you'll feel better about your life if you take care of yourself and present yourself well. Wow, that hasn't been said in 100 or probably thousands of self-help books from the beginning of that as a genre. Yeah, right. They should be launched into the sun. pragmatic pinko. That the world would be so much less entertaining, but probably it would poison a lot less minds. So probably it is a win-win scenario at that point.
And like
Too
the idea
costly.
of doing it more. Why then do we
How about
have
just
to
low
pretend
Earth
this is not the
orbit?
case?
You know,
Who
they
does
can
it
look
serve?
down and yell at
Maybe more
everyone
important to this
from
tweet, though,
a
is that it
satellite
is just
or a
literal
space
gibberish.
station or something.
Authoritarian tolerance? What are you talking
Authoritarian
about?
tolerance. He just makes up
You
words.
find this woman beautiful, Jordan. Who is
Yeah,
forcing
volcano.
your
There
hand?
you go.
Does the mere presence of an image you're not horny about qualify as authoritarianism? And
That was a funny video. And so, yeah, another one about
Casual
Jordan
reader.
Peterson was
Welcome to Some More
nominated.
News,
And
News Network, Some More News.
2
a
videos by
silly
Some
show
More
about
News were
silly
nominated
things.
for the same
But today,
category.
we're going to get serious and talk about...
But again, in the interest of just, exposing more good leftist content to people, I included both in the ballots. So, yeah, totally cool if you nominate the same creator for 2 different, if it's the bestest or the best video creator of the year.
My favorite guy, the smart and
I don't know
normal
if I
Dr.
said that
Jordan
right,
B.
but
Peterson.
whatever.
This guy.
There's no such thing as climate, right?
Okay, wait, let him
No
finish.
such thing as
Not to fanboy
climate.
out or anything, but I'm a pretty huge
What an
freaking
idiot.
fanboy of his. So show some absolutely mother-hecking respect, and let's hear him out.
Climate and everything are the same word.
Shut up, he's not done! Surely he's not done.
And that's what bothers me about the climate change types.
Oh, okay, I see what he means. See, you just gotta let him talk more to really understand him. So he's being derisive here, see? As though the climate change types claim that climate is everything, and they want to change everything. I don't
They
really
kinda
think
do
that's
wanna
true, but maybe I
change
just don't quite grasp exactly
everything
what
about
he's saying.
society,
Also, I don't know
the
what
way
he
it
means
functions,
by everything,
but-
but let's give him a little more time. We keep interrupting him.
This is something that bothers me about it technically. It's like, climate is about everything. Okay. But your models aren't based on everything. Your models are based on a set number of variables.
That is just like classic climate change denialism. Well, we just don't know enough yet. There can never be enough variables because we can't model the entire universe one-to-one, so we just will never know for sure. It's like, yeah, but that's not the purpose of doing scientific exploration. It's to get the best answer that we can with the data that we have available and make decisions based on what we want to, based on the world we want to build. And science can tell us the best way to accomplish that. But it's not going to be a perfect model ever. You don't have to have a perfect model to know that. It's like if you I got an Apple Watch. It monitors my heart rate. Now, is it going to be 100% accurate with every single beat? Probably not. I take it off at night, so it's not monitoring that heartbeat. So the average is thrown off. Does that mean that none of that data is important to me? No, of course not. It's important still, because it's the best picture that I can have of if I have a healthy heart rate. And likewise, the climate model that includes as many variables as it can is the best model that we can come up with. So we should act on that rather than just sit on our hands and do nothing. That's the alternative he's pitching. We cannot ever know enough. So let's do nothing about it. Again, why do people follow this guy? I have no idea.
Yeah. So that means you've reduced the variables, which are everything, to that set. Well, how did you decide which set of variables to include in the equation if it's about everything? And that's not just a criticism. That's like, if it's about everything, your models aren't right. Because your models do not and cannot model everything.
All right, maybe this isn't the best clip to start with because I haven't seen it before, but don't worry, I have other clips. He's great. And we're pretty fair
This is a
and
long
balanced on
video, by the
Cody's
way.
show.
This is
And
like
again,
a
I don't know what he
2.5
means by
hour video
everything. So a good question to
from
follow
Some
up
More
with
News.
would be...
It's very
Perfect.
in-depth.
Thank you, Joe. Great question. Hope this clears things up.
What do you mean by everything when you say? Well, but that's what people who talk about the climate apocalypse claim in some sense. We have to change everything. It's like everything, eh?
Okay.
Hey there. This is one of those videos that'll probably reach a bunch of new people. So if you're one of them, welcome to the channel.
Another
My name is
nom
JT, and I make
for
videos about
second
politics
thought.
and culture from a socialist perspective. Now, I don't want this to sound like a politician's speech, so this video is going to be pretty direct.
Oh, shoot. Another ad coming up. Sorry about that, folks. Should have seen that coming. Yeah, right. Man, I wish I could pick which ads went for this this stream, because I definitely would not be picking freaking TurboTax. Jeez. Back from the ad? Okay, cool. We will continue then.
Many of the biggest problems in your life are either caused or worsened
Again, the
by
best way to
capitalism.
stop the ads is to
And
subscribe.
the truth is, there are ways
Just
to solve
saying.
these problems. Another world not just radically different,
Pizza
but
Hut
better
melt.
is actually
Gross.
possible. We've only experienced
Not that
capitalism for a few hundred years at
I'm
most,
above eating Pizza
so
Hut,
it's not
but it
utopian to
still
think the
is-
world
it's
could change
garbage
and
food.
become a better place. And it's not being bitter or ungrateful
Yeah,
to critique
adds
it in its
relevant to the
present
channel,
state.
that'd be really
It's
cool.
normal. Things are bad, we know why, and we can fix them. Capitalism has had its time in the sun, and someday it will end. And it should. Just as humanity progressed from feudalism to capitalism, so too will we move on from capitalism to socialism. Our whole purpose, when you really boil it down, is to leave a better future for our children.
All right, so we've reached the end of the major serious categories, and our final big winner of the night. We'll move into some fun ones after this. It's Why You Should Be a Socialist in 2023 by Second Thought. So congrats, the second, that was the second win for Second Thought. How about that? I believe so. In fact. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Ads relevant to bringing down the capitalist system. That would be cool. Yeah, this was a great video too. This was the last video he put out in 2022. It was right before New Year's, and it was just a very straightforward, easy to digest. Like anyone with any level of understanding of leftism could easily absorb the ideas contained within. And it was a good pitch for why socialism is just better, and it wasn't. You know, it wasn't overly dogmatic, or, you know, it didn't just say, well, because billionaires suck and we should get rid of them. It made solid arguments for why it's better when we all do better, basically. We all have more control. More democracy is a better thing. All right, so now we're coming up to the fun stuff. So this is the best dunk of 2022.
Restricting publicly available information about the movement of a taxpayer-funded aircraft.
This was Elon Jet dunking on, of course, Elon Musk.
Guy and extrapolated to all the other accounts from there. Yep, that's precisely what is happening here. Yeah, didn't Elon tweet about this account specifically when he bought Twitter and that he's not going to ban it? Yeah, and then he decided against it. Which, by the way, you can do that. That's what happens when you are omega rich, okay? But what I expect from people, at the very least, is to look at that situation of brazen corruption and just like pettiness, okay? Like he's blocking links to the Elon Musk Jet Instagram account, which he calls potentially harmful. What islands is he visiting with his private jet that he is so scared that people will track his jet?
He was such a baby.
Okay, so I can't believe I'm saying this right now, but Greta Thunberg may have just sent Andrew Tate.
This is one of the funniest ones of the year.
Kidding in the slightest. So it all started when Andrew Tate, a grown-ass man, decided to take a shot at Greta Thunberg, a teenage girl, for no apparent reason, and asked her to send him her email address. Greta responded by telling him to send an email to smalldickenergy@getalife.com. By the way, this tweet is in the top 25 most liked tweets of all time currently.
Wow.
So Andrew Tate, a former professional kickboxer, decided to escalate this feud he started
how
with
the
a
money have
teenage
fallen.
girl by posting this video response. But here's where it gets interesting. You see, today, Romanian authorities raided Andrew Tate's home in connection with the kidnapping of 2 underage girls. And
That's
it's
what a
being
wild
reported that
story.
the authorities needed confirmation that Andrew Tate was in the country
Came
before
down to the
doing
freaking
so.
pizza
And
box.
apparently, this pizza box is from a pizza chain that is only found in Romania. So Andrew Tate posting this video on Twitter gave Romanian authorities the evidence that they needed to raid his home. So
I think this
Mr.
is the
Alpha
third
Male
month he's now been in prison,
for a very long time because he
and just
decided
looks
to pick a
incredibly
fight with
rough.
a teenager.
And
You hate
was
to see
talking.
it, folks.
He was tweeting about fighting a ghost in his prison cell the other day. Like, wow. Anyway, here's another dunk on Andrew Tate, this time from Hassan.
I can't break through Andrew's.
This was a fantastic
your point. You're
debate.
saying that
He
even if I
got
thought-
so mad.
No, exactly. I want to talk to her. He's saying even if I thought women were worse drivers, I've seen empirical evidence, and I'm so smart that I ignore my own eyes and ears and believe what the internet tells me. That's what
That's not what I'm asking you to do, my friend.
I'm sure you're double vaccinated. It all makes.
That's true. If only Andrew Tate had gotten DiGiorno's, then they would never have known whether or not he was in the country, because it would not have been linked to the delivery, because it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno's. It's really funny.
Sense to me now. You believe what you're told to believe. You don't believe your own eyes. You don't believe your own ears. And that's what you're going to sit here and talk about empirical evidence that you found on Google. Cool. If you believe everything that's on Google, that is your prerogative, my friend. And if you think that makes you sound smart in the modern world after the 3 years we've just been through, to say that I read a piece of paper that tells me to believe X, so I believe X, and I ignore my own personal experiences. And you think
I'm
that
not
makes
asking you to ignore your own personal experiences. I'm simply asking you to look.
So I will say, Hassan has not always been the best debater. And he admits this too. It's not his thing. It's not what he likes doing. And fair enough. But when he gets someone on who's just this ill-informed, and just really has nothing to say, it is like, it's comedy gold usually.
Get the data.
So let's change the subject because you've just proven your point.
Okay, Andrew, do you believe? Well, I didn't. You didn't really prove anything, but it's cool. Do you believe the Earth is flat, or do you believe the Earth is spherical?
He takes
round?
his headphones off.
Oh, he took his headphones off.
He gets very stressed sometimes, and
Yeah,
He was too
it's cool. It's
triggered to
important,
keep
Sometimes you can't take the
debating.
heat. Sometimes you can't take the heat, so you gotta get out of the kitchen a little bit. Andrew, do you believe the Earth is flat or round, spherical, globe?
All right, let's see who the best dunk of 2022 was. And it had to be Greta versus Andrew Tate. One of the weirdest stories of the year. So here we go, another fun category, most hilarious fall off of 2022. These are people that used to be riding high, and now their star has fallen quite a bit. And what a year it was for that. Like, my goodness, you'll see when these nominations play. But there's been a lot of really large players in the media who suck up a lot of air and space. Yeah, congratulations, Greta. With just so many huge figures that have just imploded over the past year. So yeah, without further ado, let's see. So Tulsi Gabbard, she had her Why I Left the Left arc. Basically gave up the charade that she was ever even a liberal, and now is working on Fox News. But the what is it? The QAnon Anonymous podcast had a fantastic episode on Tulsi that talks all about the cult that she grew up in and how it was basically just this right-wing cult with very few principles other than the leader is always right, and some stuff about like basically LGBTQIA is immoral. That was like their two tenets, and how their goal has been all along to get people nominated and win political elections so they can get more political power for themselves. It is a wild episode. Highly recommend it. QAnon Anonymous, the Tulsi Gabbard episode. It came out, I think, right before the new year. It's a really good episode. So then we have Cryptoland. If any of you recall, Cryptoland it's a scam, as pretty much all crypto ones were. But this was going to be the one. This is going to be the use of crypto to actually make something real in the real world. And so these crypto bros got together and came out with this really bizarrely animated pitch for investing in Cryptoland. And you had to invest a lot. It was like something like millions of dollars worth of Ether coin or something like that in order to get your place on Cryptoland, which is going to be this crypto bro utopia where there'd be no rules and you could just trade crypto and live in the sun and all this stuff. And it totally fell apart within the last year. So there's Cryptoland. Then we have Sneeko, who was taken down by Noah Samson, basically. He was one of he used to be more of a leftist, but then he got into the whole manosphere pickup artist sort of scene, and since has gone way off the rails and basically imploded. Then there's Haas, the Kremlin Gremlin, as he's known by. Do you want to come on the show? Yeah. All right. Well, joining us now is the lovely. I have to move over a little bit. Sorry. Lovely Amanda, who was out gambling while I was having my show. That's okay though. She was spending time with her mom, and now has just gotten back from it. How did you do at bingo night?
I did not win at bingo, but I won on slots.
Very cool. How much did you win?
$100.
No way!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Very cool. Do you know anything about Haas, this guy that's being pictured right now?
Looks like a mega douche lord.
I mean, it is not far off the mark. He's one of the so-called patriotic socialists who Basically, it's National Bolsheviks. It's Nazbol. They believe in extreme social conservatism, but then also somehow socialism. Economically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Socialism to me doesn't work unless it works for everybody. But whatever. So he went on this arc where he called himself the Mecha Tanky and just said the most bizarre things. I can't even really do justice to the batshit stuff that was coming out of his mouth. And you can never really tell if he was being just like over the top and satirical, or if there was a nugget of what he actually believed and all of that stuff. But wow. Yeah, where have you heard that one before, right? Yeah. Haas, another friend of Caleb Maupin, who we looked at earlier. So, also friends with Jackson Hinkle.
He's that full-grown dweeb with red hair.
Yes. The guy who was basically coercing people into selling his books for him in return for room and board. And then another woman who he coerced into being his dominatrix in return for room and board.
Too bad she couldn't beat any sense into him.
Yeah, right. Anyway.
I'll be here
So
all
that's
night,
Haas. That's Haas' story. Let's see who else we got for biggest fall off of the year. There was Kanye West, in one of the most bizarre turns I think I've ever seen a national celebrity make.
Coming.
I didn't see it going that far.
Oh, come on.
You saw it going so far that Alex Jones was trying to distance himself from him?
Yes.
Okay, well, I guess you were smarter than me. Yeah, I mean, he's always been weird and kind of weirdly conservative,
Listen, when that man
overtly anti-Semitic, overtly praising Hitler, wearing a mask on shows for what reason?
Listen.
Like,
as soon as that man married into the Kardashian clan,
It
that
was
shit
over.
was going off the rails.
I mean, maybe not, but man, he really imploded.
Listen,
imploded this year.
what happened?
Lost all his deals, lost half of his money. Like, yeah.
Listen, when you marry into the Kardashian clan, where's Scott Disick? Where's Lamar Odom? Where's Chris Humphries?
I don't know.
Where's that other guy that fucking Kimmy married?
These are all people she's married.
I mean, they've
Or
all
dated.
made. These are all ghosts from the past.
I see. I don't keep
French
up with the
Montana?
Kardashians, so I don't know these things.
Where did all the cowboys go? They're gone.
I mean, I know Lamar Odom was a basketball player, but that's all I know about him.
Yeah. You don't know any of these people because they're gone.
Where's
This is-
Waldo?
Being involved with the Kardashian clans is like going into the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
You may or may not come out of it.
You may or may not come out.
You
yeah.
may or may not.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind if ever I get the chance to marry a Kardashian. Oh my god.
Fine.
Or if anyone I know gets the chance to marry a Kardashian.
Well, you're gonna get a chance, so at least you keep it up.
Oh,
How about you go
gross.
keep up with that?
I couldn't take the vocal fry, so that would just be a non-starter. I'm gonna shake my salad now. Oh my god. We'll look at that another time. I know exactly what you're thinking right now, but that's for another night. Backseat with City Bloom. Oh, so yeah, so there's Kanye West. Of course, the Tate man himself. Look at that. For all that money and all that masculine insecurity, you'd think you'd get better hair plugs, but oh well.
A truly masculine man doesn't need hair.
And then there was
plugs to
Elon
prove
Musk,
masculine.
who single-handedly proved that you don't have to even be the least bit smart to have lots of money and run giant corporations. You can do everything wrong and still not get fired yourself, and just because you bought it. Yeah, I mean, what really is there to say about Elon Musk? He did everything wrong. Fired all his engineers, and then Twitter broke. Oh, who could have seen that coming?
See, another car crash.
Incredibly thin skin, to the point where he would fire people for correcting him when they knew more than he did.
And he has connections to Ye, who has connections
Oh,
to
I'm
the
sure.
Kardashians. So how many years is it going to be till this one disappears off the face of the earth?
I don't know. That's a good. Oh, is that it?
No, I have to go to the bathroom and
Oh,
drink.
all right. So Amanda will return. We're almost done with the show, though, so you better hurry.
Fine, I'll just stay
No, just go,
No,
just
I
go.
have to sacrifice myself.
No, go
Really
ahead,
good.
go ahead.
God, what is this fucking capitalism?
Oh my God. No, you're allowed to have breaks.
Apparently I'm not. I don't
Anyway,
know the fucking
so there's
permissions.
Elon Musk. We all know how that went for this year. So no congrats. Wow, very cool. Andrew Tate, biggest fall off of, and you know, for someone who was completely unknown before 22, except for people like myself who follow Hannah Reloaded and have seen his really bizarre antics before, to blow up and then blow up all in 1 year, that takes something. I don't know what, but that takes something. And our final category of the night, before we get into the in memoriam, is the biggest leftist glow up of the year.
Style him or anything. Actually, I know in the UK there's like literally a show. I mean, it's propaganda. It's propaganda for sure. But like a lot of
This is Carter, a streamer I was not familiar with, so glad to see that some more people were nominated who I was not familiar with.
Or they hide them.
Seems pretty cool.
And like Border Patrol in the UK or whatever the fuck it's called has a task force who literally their whole job is to like find the hidden passports and then find the person and deport them.
Check out my cat.
Noah Sampson.
Babito. Her name's Babito.
Been on the scene for a little bit more than a year, but this is really his
Hey
year
everyone,
where he
today we're going to be looking at a YouTube
became
channel
well
called
known.
It's Complicated
And
Channel.
I enjoy
It's
his stuff
Complicated
pretty well.
It's Complicated Channel posts content of street interviews. It's one interviewer, the same one in each video, and he goes to the Las Vegas Strip at night and asks random people various questions about things
think
like
this is the
dating,
one where he
relationships.
ended up
sex, and
taking
gender.
down
At the time of
Sneeko.
recording, they have about 180,000 YouTube subscribers and fairly consistently break 100,000 views on their videos. Other
Iron Brown, one of my favorites
yeah,
from this
guys.
last year.
All right.
Just a
So
fun
guys, today
show.
we're going to be looking at one of our favorite guys, one of our favorite online comedians. That's right, guys. The Duke of Drivel, the Sultan of Snooze, the master of meandering crap, Jordan T. What's his name? Jordan T. Peterstein.
I figured out a way to go to a university and have it work.
Okay.
And this is really quite funny. I figured this out
I'll be the judge of that, whether or not it's funny. Okay. All right, Jordy, let's go.
5 years ago. So imagine I'm invited to a university and I'm worried that there's going to be protests. And I worry because sometimes there are murderous people at those protests. It's no joke. And
Yeah,
people get
he's
in my face
definitely
and they
likely
threaten
to
me,
get
and
murdered.
physically as well as psychologically. And I'm not afraid of that, but it makes me so angry that I'm afraid of my own anger in situations like that. I joke with my security. Situations like that.
All right, so best leftist glow up of the year goes to Noah Sampson. Really cool streamer. Or not streamer, video creator that I think you all should check out. All right, so I'm going to take the music down now. We're going to be a little more solemn. So since this is a newer award show, we've only been doing this 3 years. We've included for our in memoriam people that have left us in some cases long before this past year, because we want to make sure that important people to the left get their due at some point. So now we have our in memoriam, and I'm just going to I'm going to turn down the volume for everything else, and we'll see the people that we've lost, some this last year, and as I said, some years before. All right, there you have it. And my apologies to Betty White. I put the wrong tag up when I made this reel, so it was supposed to say Betty White, and it said the wrong name there. But some of the people we've lost along the way. So rest in power. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining me tonight. All we have left now is the credits. I'll bring the music back up, and we will close out the show for the night. Thank you all for joining me. This is a lot of fun, as it always is. So Mulberry Jan did the backgrounds there that you saw, those green backgrounds. Sean Michael Carter did the graphics for the awards early on in the show. Thank you all to all the amazing viewers, all the people that came on tonight to accept their awards and talk about their projects. It was really great to have you all on. I just appreciate everyone so much. So this was a really fun time, and I hope to make it even better next year. It was a lot of hard work, but you know, it was worth it for sure. I'll say that. So congrats to all the winners. Way to go, Fwam. Most nominated, most awarded of the night. And yeah, really, you can't go wrong checking out any of the stuff that we've looked at tonight. And I will be putting out this stream as a YouTube video as soon as I can. And I'll be adding on all the links to the various nominees of the night so that you can more easily check out those creators at your leisure. But I hope you all had as much fun as I did tonight, and I hope to see you in future streams. I'm debating whether or not to stream tomorrow night, but if I do, it's usually around 7 p.m. Central Time, and I'll be broadcasting both to Twitch, but also Facebook and YouTube as well. But yeah, look forward, keep your eyes out for the video for this night. And yeah, hopefully we'll get some great, a new great crop of leftist content creators for next year. And you're quite welcome. Yeah, hope you found some new favorites or some new ones you're more interested in checking out. And all this. That's the reason that I do this. And thank you all to everyone that participated in the nominating process for this and voting. Like I said, we had like triple the turnout from last year. So that was really great to see, and I think it only goes up from here. So yeah, let's see who we're gonna raid tonight. Let's see who is on deck. Just waiting for some people to come raid into. Don't see a lot of my normal people that I raid into. Oh, Real Red Hom is on tonight, so that's who we're gonna raid tonight. If you are seeing this video at some other time, here is the link for Real Rad Hom. It's at twitch.tv/Real Rad Hom. Really great Australian leftist streamer. Always a fun and interesting time when you're with Rad Hom. So sit tight for the raid. And yeah, I hope to see you all next time. Here goes the raid. Thank you all, and have a great night.